Welcome in. Welcome in, everyone, to Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. It was a rainy Monday here, but yeah, I jinxed myself going into the weekend saying that it was a bland weekend in college football. That was not the case um, at all.
Nope.
So we will we will talk about what is going on, what went on this weekend here in a sec.
It was a bit eventful, you know. I think I lone wolfed some good things in college, and I fell on my tushy for the NFL, man.
We all did, I think. I think most of our picks that we all had together all lost in NFL.
And it wasn't just us, though. If you look at across the board, people on national broadcast, it was a bizarre NFL week, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Which, when I say bizarre, I kind of like that, though, right? It wasn't the norm. There were some upsets. I think there's a lot to unpack about some games. Hopefully, we don't spend 3 hours each on each one.
Yeah, there was a couple games. One in particular I could have gone without watching, but
Yeah, especially being a fan of that team.
okay. Sorry about that. I was trying to do something on Twitter, but it was not working for me. So, anyways, starting off Friday night, we started the weekend 0-1.
Yep, we did.
It started off poorly and continued. But yeah, UCF got the win at home. The reason that I feel like we should have just voided this game that I learned while I started watching the game, I did not know that Seth Hennigan wasn't playing, that he was out in this one. So that would have swayed me to UCF with the uncertainty at quarterback for Memphis. And Harris was terrible. I mean, they couldn't get anything going on offense, really. And Bowser was carrying the ball well for the Knights. So
Didn't know about the injury as well. Once I heard that, I said, "Oh no."
Defensively, a lot of UCF numbers here. I like Big Cat Bryant. He should be on my board. I just haven't watched UCF enough. I know he was dominant, and has been a really good player. Came over with Gus Malzahn from Auburn. So 6 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles plus, pass deflection, and a QB hurry.
The only reason UCF won this was ground game and turnovers. Their quarterback play was uninspiring for a winning team.
Yeah, Mikey Keene, a freshman. I believe Joey Gate was a sophomore. So hurts when you don't have Dylan Gabriel. UCF covered -1.5 under 63. The other Friday night game, we had Utah State beating Colorado State 26-24. And this one was because Colorado State missed a game-winning field goal on the last drive.
I will take it how it comes.
But, yeah, pretty even game. Mountain West rivalry. I mean, David Bailey for the Rams. Crazy numbers on the ground. But, yeah, Aggies winning.
You hate to waste that kind of performance.
Yeah. I mean, I all along the whole game, I was thinking, well, my lone pick in this is going to look really ridiculous come Monday. I thought they just had control of the game and the tempo, and I picked them because of Logan Bonner, which they ended up winning, but it wasn't necessarily because of his best performance.
Yeah. LL Leon Noah helped him out on the ground there.
Defensively, just Cameron Carter, 14 tackles. I know 6 solo, but 14 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, and an interception. He was everywhere.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep.
Yet again in a losing effort, though.
Utah State +3, under 59. Let's go to Saturday, number 2, Cincinnati.
Woo!
Wow, this was the start of a terrible college football weekend for myself, I know, and just a lot of scares and some that weren't scares that turned into upsets. Number 2, Cincinnati beats Navy 27-20 in Annapolis. Desmond Ridder is human for once. Jerome Ford, though, I mean, he continues to just pound and pound. Another very good day for him, 101 total yards off 17 touches.
What frustrates me about the one positive I'll say about this game, I don't care what your record is at the end of the season as long as you play your way into the Final Four, right?
Mm-hmm.
And good teams find ways to win. I just really thought that Cincinnati would blow them out of the water because of the pace of play. I understand what Navy brings to the table, or really any kind of military school, because they're like high schools on steroids, smaller recruiting pools, and the better athletes to have, the better offense. Let's get out there and control the ball. But Navy just dictated the tempo of this game, and I just kept scratching my head like, what is going on? You think that the line would push them compared to them, but great game plan by a 1-6 Navy team, and luckily Cincinnati won, because that would have been disastrous, even worse.
That would have been the second week in a row that the number 2 fell to a upset game. But yeah, this game, I didn't watch it, but I was monitoring it on my phone because, again, Saturday was a crazy day of sports. So I didn't know what game to pay attention to because they were all like crazy. But yeah, this one, I was shocked at this one. But the thing that stands out to me, I know it's a quarterback, but Ty Lavatai, 21 carries for 22 yards. I know he scored twice, but 22 yards on 21 carries is it's almost impossible to do.
Well, Cincinnati's defense is good against the triple option. They played pretty well. And college football accounts for sacks. They account that to quarterback rushing yards. So how many times did they sack him? That is the question on the board. And I don't know.
Well, we got one on the board here.
I mean, they only threw it 15 times, but
Yeah, only one.
Yeah.
But there were 11 tackles for loss for the Cincinnati defense. So,
and if you in the triple option, if you get back to the line of scrimmage, then it's just.
I'm going with Joel Dublanko every week for Cincinnati. He is on the board usually. 15 tackles, 9 solos, 2 tackles for loss, quarterback hurry. Your military guy Diego Fago made the list again too as well, Mark.
He did. He's a run stuffer and finds himself in the middle of the action each time.
Navy cover plus 28.5, under 49 by 2. Number 3, Oklahoma had their own scare in Kansas, 35-23. Misleading end score.
The score is misleading for anyone that didn't at least follow or watch this game.
10-0.5 for Kansas. Up 17-7 with a minute and a half to go in the third quarter. They had them.
Basketball fans were like, is KU going to pull off the biggest upset upset in the world. Because it would, I mean, guys, it would be for them to go, okay, we're 1-5 and we're going to beat the number 3 team in the nation. And they looked every bit like they were going to that. And I had some friends reach out to me and I said, there's no way OU loses this. It's just, it would be the most OU thing maybe this year. Kansas is not ready to do that. Now, next year, 2 years, maybe. They're just not ready to do it. I actually like what the coach is doing there. And not to talk any longer, we all can look at the stats. I was impressed with Kwame Lassiter, whether it was a big chunk to get to 101 yards or not. Still had 7 catches on 14.4. And I say that because Kansas usually doesn't have a 100-yard receiver. Look at the quarterback numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I like what Lance Leopold has done so far, making Kansas competitive in his first year, at least. There were a lot of people that were on Twitter hoping for Kansas to upset because there's a lot of people out there that have the prop bet Kansas win total over 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard from a lot of those people on the weekend, but yeah, Caleb Williams, his first true road game as a starter, freshman, looked like a freshman in this one until the fourth quarter when he looked like a veteran quarterback, especially on the legal forward handoff from Kennedy Brooks to Caleb Williams that he ran and got a first down on a key third down.
And I think what you hit on the key for me was if you look at his profile so far this season coming in for Spencer Rattler, he's got each game he's gotten better in as the quarters go into the fourth quarter, right? And I think that's something that you look for in a quarterback. You want to get, at least he had those not so good numbers, or you didn't have the good look against a Kansas team on the road. Okay, well, let's build off that fourth quarter, and our next road game, let's put a complete game together.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Neal, 100-yard game for the Jayhawks on the ground, 2 touchdowns as well. Defensively, Kyron Johnson for the Jayhawks, 4 tackles, 3 solos, sack, tackle for loss, and a quarterback hurry. Kansas plus 38.5. Under 67. Big Ten, number 6, Michigan. This was not a scare. This one was at Michigan, so that got taken into account as well. But 33-7, trouncing of Northwestern. I live bet plus 21.5 when it was 0-0 in the first quarter, with about half of the first quarter through, or 10 minutes through, something like that, and it was 0-0 still. I was like, well, Northwestern seems to be holding their ground on defense. They just need to get some points on offense. They'll be okay. Man, Michigan took it to them in the second quarter and on, ran the ball at will, was not able to do anything on offense for Ryan Helinski and Wildcat offense. But man, Blake Corum, Hassan Haskins, really the key to this one. And again, I told you, Cade McNamara is not. That's what's going to get Michigan. That's what's going to make Michigan lose when it comes to these big games they have coming up against Michigan State next weekend, Ohio State, and Penn State. They're going to have to throw the ball, especially against Ohio State. And I mean, if they can do this against those teams, good for you. But I don't think it's sustainable against high-flying offensive attacks.
The only thing I thought about this game, and I didn't watch it all, I was like, okay, let's check it. Then they ran away with it. It's still the same question. Do I believe in Michigan being 7-0? And those might be the scariest teams, because for me, I don't. I think, they should get beat next week, or Ohio State, they shouldn't be able to score that much, but we've seen what people have done to neutralize Ohio State. And sometimes these are the scariest teams. What if they do make it into the college football playoff and find a way to win the darn thing? I would just be like, oh my God.
Well, again, they I lost my train of thought. I had something.
Well, all I'm saying is when I'm watching them, they don't look as good as what they are. But then you look at the score and it's 33-7 against the conference foe, and you're like,
they should have freaking lost to Nebraska. Besides the Adrian Martinez fumble, there's no way that Michigan wins that game if Adrian Martinez doesn't fumble the ball. But then people are gonna be like, well, like you said, Mark wins a win, but I don't care. I'm gonna say you should have lost that one. That's an expected loss category.
I like it.
Evan Hall's numbers, very misleading. He ran for a 75-yard touchdown run. That was the only points. Yeah. So 5 carries for 6 yards otherwise for Evan Hall. That's what I was surprised about in this game, that Northwestern couldn't run the ball. So yeah, that was.
I mean, at a certain point, you can't rely on the run anyway when you're down by so many points.
Well, yeah, but I was just shocked early that they couldn't get it going. They only ran for 100 total yards. Michigan ran for 294.
And I mean, I don't know the time of possession in this game, but just based on the defensive stats, it seems like their defense was on the field for a large portion of the game, because the 4 guys you got there on the thing have 30 total solo tackles and 55 total tackles. So, yeah, they must have been doing a lot of tackling in that game.
Yeah, it was double. Michigan had 40 minutes of possession. And they also ran more plays. 86 compared to 55. Yeah, defensively, I am going with Aiden Hutchinson, though, the best defensive player by far that Michigan has. 3 tackles, half sack, half tackle for loss, pass deflection, and 2 QB hurries. Michigan covered minus 23.5, under 51. Illinois upsets number 7 Penn State 20-18 in Happy Valley in 9 overtimes. And yes, that's what I did. That's what I did the entire game. I just shook my head because I had no idea what was going on.
Look,
Why I did not beat them. I had
Sorry, go ahead. I keep shaking my head.
Sean Clifford looked terrible. And I go back to my point that I made on Friday. I didn't think they needed Sean Clifford to win this game. And I would have preferred, especially because it was rainy and terrible conditions, game plan around Taquan Robinson, run a bunch of read option stuff, because that's what Taquan Robinson is probably more familiar with at this point in his career as a redshirt freshman or whatever he is, young player.
Excuse me.
I would have rather had that than have a 80% Sean Clifford out there still taking hits.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's going into Ohio State. Again, not 100%.
A couple things that I thought. Sorry, I thought you were done. The couple things is, thank you, Chris, for alerting me to this game. It's our bye week here, so we went to the lake, and I was kind of shifting through games, and we went down to the water. And I said, we got to go back so I can see this. It's in how many overtimes right now? And that was my first thought, was this is Rusty's team. I feel bad for him, but what are they doing rolling Clifford out there? That was my first. When you see him, it just didn't look what people would say maybe fluid or natural. And it's not a good Illinois team, but not a bad. I think they're more competitive with Brett there. But the game plan, I just was like, and it shows you, to me, it's almost when we're going to get to the Chicago Bears. This game plan was terrible for this game. We're talking about 9 stinking overtimes, people, and the winning score was 20 points. And you do have to know the college rules. It changes the 2-point conversions. But no one would think in their right mind 9 overtimes would equate to a 20-point win. And it goes back to the game plan that they had for this weekend.
The saddest thing, and the thing that I was most pissed off at, was that Penn State could have won. What was it? Triple overtime.
I think it was third.
Was when Jaquan Brisker, Illinois was running the Philly special.
Mm-hmm.
And Jaquan Brisker jumped right in front of the quarterback and had a pick in his hands, and he dropped it. Penn State was up 13-10 at that point.
But
having kicked their field goal.
That goes back to, we know Penn State's motto this year, or MO, really good on defense, can't score as much as Iowa in their first loss, but they could score enough against Wisconsin. Well, you have to game plan going into Illinois that you don't throw 34 times with Sean Clifford. I don't think you have to.
Yeah, like the announcers were saying, you could see Kirk Soroka, the offensive coordinator for Penn State, the announcers were saying, like, and it was Dan Orlovsky was one of the announcers. And
I like Dan.
He was saying you can see what the defense is putting out, and Penn State was running the ball when they should have thrown it and throwing the ball when they should have ran it. And that's exactly what Orlovsky was saying in the booth. And, I mean, yeah, you can see it, definitely. I mean, it's common sense. When they have 6-7 guys in the box, throw the dang ball.
I don't know how you feel about him, but I've not been a big Coach Franklin fan. So,
I mean, I like him. He's brought Penn State back from everything that happened, and he got him a conference championship. So,
and I don't know who else you guys would go get, but.
And they should have been in the college football playoff in 2016 as well, not stupid Washington.
And maybe it's not directly him. Maybe he needs a new OC. I don't know. I definitely think you guys. I don't have a problem with Sean Clifford, but I also don't think he's the quarterback that was going to take you to the college football playoff, regardless if he's healthy or not.
The thing is, the offensive line is kind of youngish. They replaced a lot of starters last year. They have fantastic skill positions. I think they could upgrade a little bit at the running back position.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I mean, if they could get a 5-star quarterback somewhere, that would help tremendously. But I think Clifford and where he is, how much he has progressed from where he started when I remember him first starting, it's definitely a lot better. And I think he has one more year. So I'd be
let's not take anything away from one side of the ball either. Illinois, I mean, they dominated the line of scrimmage. And if you look at the numbers, you would think, why did you only score 20 with as much rushing yards as they had?
Because their quarterback turned the ball over 3 times.
You could see it could be worse for Penn State. At least Clifford didn't turn it over. He just had terrible numbers.
Yeah, they ran for 357 yards.
That's something, guys, against a conference opponent.
67 attempts. And
before we move on, what this equates to, though, is Illinois is not going to be moving forward. They're not going to be the walkover that they have been in the conference for a while.
Yeah, but again, they're going to turn into Michigan. Just in the
yeah.
They can run the ball, but, well, they don't have a quarterback that can win you the game if you need to come back in the fourth quarter. That's how it's going to be at this point. Disappointed in Penn State's run game. That's been a disappointment all season. They haven't been able to run the ball effectively at all with the 4 running backs that they have. And defensively, I'm going with Arnold Ebiketie once again. Temple transfer has shown up almost every single game for Penn State. 10 tackles, 4 souls, 1.5 sacks, 2 tackles lost. Illinois plus 24.5, under 46. Number 16, Wake Forest in, I don't know if this was the game of the year or not. It was definitely the most points of the year. 70-56 over Army in West Point. And Sam Hartman, dude, I told y'all, man, this kid is lighting it up.
Sneaky Heisman Trophy. People would say sneaky because you don't think Heisman's come from Wake Forest. But legit Heisman, or at least MVP of his team. Conference.
Yeah. And I think Wake Forest is easily the favorite in the ACC. Granted, Pitt has a better defense, so possibly Pitt, but that can be a matchup right there in separate divisions. I believe they're in opposite divisions in the ACC. So, no, they're yes, they are. So we could see a Pitt Wake Forest championship game.
What's remarkable in commentating about this is talking to my wife and her uncle and people that were at the lake. Army wins games if they get into the 50s, if they get into 42 usually, because of the style of that triple option that the schools run, because of the resources, recruits that they have. And I take nothing away from them losing to Wake Forest 70-56, other than you would want your defense to stop Wake Forest more. But what a game. What a game. It was just back and forth. Just being in the military and knowing how hard it is to recruit at this level and put a good team on, I thought this was a good showing for Army, even in a loss. And losses, I'm not condoning losses by any means.
It was definitely a surprise game, though. I definitely didn't think it was going to be 126 points in this game.
No.
Like, I didn't even think there was going to be 60 total points, let alone 120. So, but this is the kind of game I thought Army was going to win. I thought if it was going to be a high-scoring game, I thought Army was going to get the win. But like you said, they still performed pretty well for their standards. So, good for them.
I would like to see the history, the last 10 years, how many 100-yard receivers Army's had. And they've beat some people and scored more points than other military schools, but to have 107 yards and 2 touchdowns against a Power 5 conference foe in the ACC, good on A.T. Perry, man. Isaiah Alston said that wrong.
Yeah. But I told y'all, man, Wake Forest can score with the best of them right now, and they are hot. Yeah. Tyler isn't the Army throwing quarterback. That's why he doesn't have any passing stats, but Jabari Laws is, and he threw some balls, that's for sure. Jakari Robertson, I mentioned him on Friday. He's one of my favorite players for Wake right now. A.T. Perry as well, like Mark mentioned. Those two having fantastic days. And then defensively, I'm going with Trayvon Red for Wake. 7 tackles, 3 solos, and an 83-yard pick 6, which changed the game. And I believe that's how Wake was able to win, because they were going possession for possession. And then eventually someone's got a break, and it ended up being Army that broke and threw the pick 6. So
I don't keep up with the ACC like the SEC, but I will throw out that the Demon Deacons were picked in most polls in the ACC preview about 5th or 6th in conference. So maybe not at the very bottom, middle of the pack, and look at them now, 7-0. I love those storylines.
Yeah, Wake Forest -3. They covered over 54. Both teams scoring over 54 points. Big 12 Tech, Kansas State. Woo! Beating Texas Tech 25-24. The Wildcats came back. Man, they were down early. And Skylar Thompson, Deuce Vaughn did it all in this game. But, they were down 24-10 at halftime. Scored 15 unanswered points in the second half. Started off by a safety with 12:40 to go in the third quarter. Great times for the Cats. And Skylar Thompson, like I said, Deuce Vaughn was my man and is my guy from Kansas State. 3 total touchdowns. Love and life, Chris.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember who I picked in this game, but
Tech.
I feel like I picked Texas Tech. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. Probably because they were the home team and they were the favorite.
I mean, it was a 1-point ball game, so that's tough.
Actually, they weren't the favorite. Actually, and it ended up being Kansas State, but not actually that great of stats for anyone other than Deuce Vaughn, 3 touchdowns. Defensively, Tyree Wilson, 4 Texas Tech, 3 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, and a quarterback hurry. Kansas State pushed -1 and under 61. I've never seen a 1 spread push. Never. It's very difficult to do to win.
Yeah, because the 1 spreads are usually basically a pick'em game. So
yeah, that's why you're better off just playing the money line. All right, let's go to some action, which is also a game I got right. Look at me. College was pretty good for me this week. NFL, we'll see how bad that was, but another 1-point game. NIU and my guy Rocky Lombardi pulled it out, 39-38. I watched the end of this game. I watched the last drive that NIU had to win the game on a field goal. And it was fun. They came back. They were down 35-18, 10 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Well, that's what ticks me off. One, because I know you picked it by yourself, which is good, but they were up. And I don't get mad in 1-point losses in college. NFL is a little different. It's more competitive, talent pool. And these games, lose by 1. It's those that I get mad when someone gets blown out. And I'm like, oh, God, how did I pick the wrong team?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they scored 18 unanswered.
That made me mad.
Before Central Michigan kicked the field goal to go up 38-36 with 6 minutes to go. And then NIU kicked their game winner with 54 seconds to go.
It was a love-hate relationship. Mark it off. There's a big lead. And then I love close football games and comebacks. And so I was like, oh, my gosh, I'm going to lose this, but this is fun to watch.
It's crazy, though, because both quarterbacks played outstanding. No turnovers. But both running backs were lights out as well. I mean, Lou Nichols and Jay Ducker, both over 180 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just fun seeing. It was a chess match for a while, and it was fun seeing the back and forth. It was just I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the entirety of the game. I switched it on once I was like, oh my gosh, they're coming back, and it was just fun to watch.
Trayvon Rudolph, Tyrese Ritchie for NIU, Khalil Pimpleton for Central Michigan, all over 100 yards. 4 combined touchdown between those 3. Defensively, there weren't much, but I'm going to go with Troy Hairston for the Chippewas. 7 tackles, 3 solos, sack, 2 tackles for loss.
The next one ticks me off too.
NIU +6 over 56.
Not that it's just a loss.
Wisconsin rolling over number 25 Purdue 30-13 in West Lafayette.
Quarterback.
Aiden O'Connell sucks. I'm not going to go there because we all saw what he did against Iowa. But yeah, I mean, you do that against Iowa and then you come back home, no less, and throw 3 interceptions.
and I know we all picked Purdue, and that's what ticks me off is I thought to myself, this is the Purdue that we saw because they had beat Iowa. They actually had a really good record against them if you look at it. Or we saw what they did to a ranked Louisville team, like I think 3 years ago, where they played Ohio State tough. And then I dug deeper during this game because it wasn't close after it. I think it was a touchdown, and then Wisconsin kind of ran away with it. Like it was like 24-7 at one point. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I just remember realizing Wisconsin is going to win this game. I'm going to dig deeper on some stats and facts. And Purdue lays a dud the last 4 years after any big win. And I should have known that fact when picking this game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was 13-13 at halftime.
But it was after halftime.
17 unanswered for Wisconsin. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the stats, again, I'm going to say this again. Graham Mertz sucks. I can say that about him because he hasn't had a game all year.
That's any year.
Impressed by. So, yes, Graham Mertz sucks. The Wisconsin run game was on point in this game. Ches Malusi, Braylon Allen, both over 140 yards, 3 combined touchdowns. But look at the team stats. Both were terrible on third down. Wisconsin 1 for 11 on third down. Purdue 3 for 12. Biggest issue, 206 total yards for Purdue. Minus 13 rushing yards. Again, that accounts quarterback sacks as well, which Wisconsin got 6 of them on Purdue. And Wisconsin, on the other hand, ran for 290 yards. But Purdue had 5 total turnovers to Wisconsin's 2. And that was really the biggest issue.
I don't know why I couldn't remember the halftime, but that's the thing about the game that I remember. Like, there was a certain point, and I think I watched it up to the halftime, flipped it to something else, and turned it back and go, well, this game's over.
Yeah, Payne Durham, 100 yards for Purdue. No losing effort. Defensively, Leo Chanel, though, I mean, he just destroyed the Boilermaker offensive line all day. 9 tackles, 8 of them solos, 3.5 sacks, 5.5 tackles for loss.
That's insane.
Wisconsin minus 3.5. They covered over 41, and I believe I called the over in this one. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I remember there was one of the 40-something games that I called the over. Another upset. Iowa State beating number 8 Oklahoma State in Ames, 24-21. Brock Purdy lights out. But Spencer Sanders played well too. I mean, you can't fault Sanders. I think your cousin didn't give me enough, Mark. 76 yards wasn't enough, dude. Really, this game is very close all around.
You know what? If you go back and read or listen to the commentary on Friday, all I said was I don't believe Oklahoma State is going to go unscathed in the conference. And I just circled it and said, this is the one redeeming game for Iowa State. I didn't say why they would. Sometimes I don't know why. Sometimes you have to pick against someone, and that's why I picked against them.
Yeah, I was excited. It was 14-7 Oklahoma State at halftime. And then Iowa State got 10 unanswered. Oklahoma State went up 21-17. And then Breece Hall scored with 5.5 to go in the game to get the Cyclones the win. Xavier Hutchinson, monster day, 12 for 125, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, very close game. Sucks that Cowboys couldn't get it done.
Yeah, we were questioning on Friday why Iowa State was the favorite, but clearly they were a favorite for a reason. They ended up winning the game, and so I guess the bettors know what they're talking about.
Will McDonald had a day for Iowa State. 5 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, pass deflection, 2 quarterback hurts. Oklahoma State did cover, though. Good teams win, great teams cover. +7, under 47 by 2. Number 12, Ole Miss beating up on LSU 31-17. Matt Corral, not a Heisman quality day here.
I think he's falling off that wagon.
Got helped by his running backs, Snoop Connor, Jerry, and Ely, both almost running for 100 yards. Jerry and Ely 3 yards short there, but Snoop got it done. Went over, did turn it over, but all around, pretty decent day for the Rebels.
When you say it's not a Heisman candidate weekend, if you only miss 5 passes in a game, it's not terrible. And you score twice.
I just think it wasn't an eye-popping.
Well, to me, that's the only reason they won the game. I mean, who else is going to score 14 points for you and move the ball? Because if Max Johnson plays any better, and I know Max, and he's more than capable, then LSU wins this game. But instead, he has 2 fumbles and an interception and didn't get into the end zone. And I don't think Matt is in the Heisman anymore, in my opinion.
He is. He still is. But, yeah, interesting. Max Johnson, Ole Miss defense played very well all day. Garrett Nussmeier comes on at the end, scores a touchdown. But very hard, sharp regression for Tyrion Davis-Price from last weekend against Florida to this weekend. Didn't have as much of a running lanes this week. Dontario Drummond, pretty good receiving day there. Defensively, I'm going with Neil Farrell Jr. for the Tigers. 7 tackles, 4 solos, sack, 3 tackles for loss. Damone Clark has been all over the field for LSU as well. I mean, 19 tackles in this one. That's ridiculous.
Wait, and I forget which one of you guys said it on Friday, but about LSU playing for Edo, but they did not play very hard for him in this one. So we'll see how that goes the rest of the season.
It was me, and that was my first thought after the game ended was it the right move to move on for him? What's going on there? I know Stingley Jr. has been injured, so it's going to be an interesting offseason for LSU.
They just need 2 wins. They need 2 wins for Edo to coach the bowl game. Ole Miss covered -9, under, you ready for it? 77. Easy.
Just a little under.
Easy money. 48. All right, ACC. Yes, sir. Hail to Pitt, as Lewis Riddick posts every time Pitt wins. Former Pitt Panther there. Number 23, Pitt, taking down Clemson 27-17 at Heinz Field. Kenny Pickett, this man did have another Heisman-type day. 302 and 2 touchdowns, 64% completion. DJ Uiagalelei got benched.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear it.
The thing is, now we got to learn another quarterback's name to pronounce. It's Tyson Fomachan, I guess. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm waiting to hear it from people on the networks. Where's my earpiece? I need.
It is a little too late to switch your quarterback. I love that Kenny Pickett picked up this win. What is funny, I think about that, and I won't talk any longer, is Sam Howell said, you guys, at the beginning of the season, another quarterback in my conference you're not talking about enough. He actually probably should be a Heisman candidate also. And he said that on his Twitter. Go look at it. And he's playing like it. They have 1 loss in the ACC. And I think it would just be phenomenal if Wake Forest and Pittsburgh play for the championship. Because no one had that. I don't care who you are, had that as the ACC matchup.
I'm not saying that I called this from Kenny Pickett this year, but I will say on the show last season,
You've been on his train.
anytime we had Pitt, I tried to mention Kenny Pickett because I knew he had played very well and was a veteran, experienced quarterback.
I think he could be a good professional.
Mhm.
People are now putting him in the first round. Yeah.
I said good. And if someone can be good, that means they can lead to great or whatever. But don't quote me as being like, well, you said he was going to be the next Tom Brady. I didn't say that. So he has a chance to be a good professional.
It was kind of funny though, because DJ's replacement was even worse than DJ was.
Well, one of my favorite things on Sunday was, and I was doing something and it popped up on my watch of all things. I don't even know if it was ESPN or I'm not on Twitter very much or anything, but it said something about comparing. Well, Dabo just went Belichick mode. He's full sweater mode the rest of the season because he doesn't care. He's not winning. He's not winning a championship.
It's amazing to me that teams like Clemson and LSU, they were some of the most unbeatable teams 2 or 3 years ago. And now this year, both of them have at least 3 losses already. And it's only 7 or 8 games into the season.
Which reverts me back to this. I don't care who you are, if you like them or don't like them. I don't like the team, but I have a lot of respect for Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm.
It is unheralded the way that they reload. And Clemson is not talked about enough, and it's nothing. We know Dabo's a good coach. They lost a crap ton of players, guys, on both sides of the ball. And if not the biggest 3 positions on the offensive side of the ball. And you see their defense has kept them in it all year. They just haven't been able to score. And that's directly because you have people in the NFL, which makes what Nick Saban is doing at Alabama unheard of. Bear Bryant isn't even in his realm house anymore, in my opinion. And I don't care if any Alabama fan has an issue with that. He's the best college coach ever, hands down. There is not a freaking discussion about it.
Mm-hmm.
Skalski, every Clemson game we got Skalski on here. 16 tackles, 6 of them solos. Once again, tackling machine. But I'm gonna go with Servassier Dennis for Pitt. 2 tackles, both of them solo, and a 50-yard pick 6 off of DJ.
Hey, 50 yards pick 6. You got to go with someone like that.
Yeah.
Pitt covered -3.5, under 47. Rice.
Another one we all got wrong.
Beating UAB on the road 30-24 in Birmingham. And Dylan Hopkins played okay, but Wiley Green played better. Not as much yards, but 2 more touchdowns. Did turn the ball over once, but he got it done for the Owls. If anyone didn't know, that's what Rice's mascot is, the Rice Owls.
They are. I've known that for years being in the Midwest, but I just don't like the whole whatever they're doing with their little logo right here.
Classy. It's classy, Mark.
It's like a half H and R. I get it. You're in Houston, but there's nothing to an owl.
I think the craziest thing about this game, because I turned it on at the end, and UAB had kicked a field goal to get it to 30-24, like the final score was. Got the ball back with 2:10 to go. I believe no timeouts. They got it all the way down to the Rice. Where is it at here? The Rice 45. Or no, the Rice 40, I believe. I don't know what this stupid thing is doing. But regardless, they got down to the Rice 40. And they scored. They scored a touchdown. But it got called back. Then they got like another 15-yard penalty for personal foul. Then they got like a false start, and it just kept piling up, and then they couldn't get a first down, let alone a touchdown. And Rice walked it off on defense. But yeah, entertaining last couple 40 seconds or so in this game. Blazers couldn't pull it out, unfortunately, for our picks. But yeah, it's interesting. I wanted to mention this earlier with some of the other stats, but I don't know if the college guys knew that it was National Tight End Day on Sunday for the NFL, but we did have some tight ends playing very well on Saturday as well. We one right here, Garrett Prince had a 100-yard day and a touchdown for UAB. Jaeger Bull scored twice for Rice. Great name there. Great name. And Jordan Myers listed as a tight end. I don't know why, because he ran the ball 11 times and only caught it once. Defensively, a lot of defensive stats here. Let's go with Chris's guy, Miles McCord. 4 tackles, 3 solos, 3 pass deflections.
Yeah. I love seeing the cornerbacks with that PD next to their name, especially 3 in one game, because I feel like that's their main job is to knock the ball out of the air. So there you go.
Are the Turners twins?
I'm not sure.
I think they are.
We had this game, and there's another game. You'll see that there's 2 people with the same name. The other one, I feel more confident saying that they're brothers than this one. But you'll see why I say that in a minute.
You'll see why I say it.
Rice plus 24 over 45. Big Ten, Minnesota beating up Maryland 34-16. This one was at Minnesota. And again, Toledo didn't throw an interception, but he did fumble it. Tanner Morgan didn't have to do anything, dude. I mean, he sat back there. He's like, I'm good, bro. I'm throwing 12 times this game. We're going to run it with Kai Thomas, Marquise Irving, Bryce Williams, and that'll be the day, dude. I'm just going to sit here, hand the ball off all day. That's fine with me. We're going to go win the game.
Did we all pick Minnesota? I think we all picked Minnesota.
Yeah.
I just couldn't, after we picked Tua and had the 5 interceptions, I don't know if I'll pick the Fighting Mule Eyes anymore.
Talia, you mean, not Tua. Talia. 326 rushing yards for the Gophers in this one. The third Big Ten team this weekend that was really running the ball effectively with Illinois and Michigan. I guess 4th, technically, Wisconsin as well. But, yeah, Big Ten had a great running day for a good amount of teams this weekend. I would have liked to see the total yards that the Big Ten ran for this weekend compared to other.
I actually might, after this, go calculate everything because I'm interested in it too. Starting with Illinois' 357.
Yeah.
I know that's a wound that still hurts, Rusty. I'm sorry.
But yeah, not much in the passing game in this one. Again, Minnesota just ran the ball. Defensively, take your Jack Gibbons, sure. 10 tackles, 5 solos, 1.5 tackles for loss, and a quarterback hurry.
Before we move forward, just so we say it on this show, PJ Fleck should be on the radar of any big program, even in the SEC. What he's done at Minnesota in his short time is nothing but awesome.
Well, yeah, unfortunately for Minnesota, they already lost. Or no, they did. Okay, actually, Minnesota's in a great position. 5-2. They can win the West.
I know.
They're tied with Iowa, and they have a game coming up against Iowa that's at Minnesota.
If I'm PJ, I would never touch the Vanderbilt job. If I'm LSU president, athletic director, I am making a phone call, engaging the interest.
Well, we'll see. There's another job that opened up when we get to NCAA news this week.
I know. You're right. That could be the next one.
Minnesota covered -4, under 53. by 3. Toledo shocking it up 34-15
God,
the Rockets.
we all lost this, and it was not close.
We need to stop picking Western Michigan. I'm pretty sure every time we picked them, they lost.
What I remembered is you said, this is going to be a closer game. And I really do think you said this before the show, leading up to the show. I think Toledo has a shot.
Caleb Ellaby, I mean, there's not much to say because he didn't play badly, really. It was just Daquan Finn led them back. They were down 15-13 at halftime and 21 straight to win it, including a Zachary Ford 35-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. But yeah, the Rockets had a good second half, and it was all in the third quarter, no scoring in the fourth. They're 21 points in the second half. So Sky Moore, once again, he's probably my guy that I know the best from Western Michigan. So another good game for him. But yeah, Bryant Kovac, 100 yards on the ground for the Rockets. Defensively, I already said Zachary Ford. I don't know if y'all want to pick someone, but
You always make fun of me, but Deshaun Johnson, 6 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 quarterback hurry, and a winning effort. You always say you're going to go with the most tackles or interception, but I mean, in a win, then you're leading that defense in some categories. He's not the anchor of the defense.
Toledo plus 1.5, under 55.
And he didn't lead the tackles.
And Mark, you can take this one. I'm hit the restroom.
BYU, Washington State. Can we all go once again? Because it would have made our records worse. He does it backwards, so I look at it as Washington State being at home, but I think BYU has actually hosted this game. I didn't get to watch this one. I followed it on my phone, like we talked earlier. Squeaked by with a 2-point winner, and it was all the ground game. Tyler Allegair, I'm going to say his name wrong. We should wait for Rusty, but 32 carries, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions, 6 average. That's what we talked. You and I both believe in having, 4.9 to 5.2 average in my opinion.
Yeah, I like around that 5 per carry average, and yeah, he had 6. So, granted, I don't know the breakdown of his 32 carries. I don't know what his highest one was or whatever, but
sometimes, we do break that down because it looks bigger, but it still looks good. To me, you're not giving someone 32 carries unless he's chunking up some yards. And I would even talk about, Washington State's quarterback play. 26 of 37 isn't the worst if you can complete 70%. I know a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL that would like that, but you never found the end zone was their big problem. And I know we don't have the team stats right in front of us, but that would be what's the red zone numbers versus each other. Guarantee you BYU found the end zone one more time or one more field goal in this.
Well, no, it seems to me Washington State missed an extra point or a 2-point conversion or something because
get to
Max
19.
Borghi there, he scored 3 touchdowns. So,
yeah, good. Yeah, you had to. Special teams was a difference in this game then. Good eyeball. Because like I said, I didn't get to watch this. I didn't watch.
I didn't either.
I had alerts on my phone. It's West Coast. It's later in the day with Twins. But I guarantee you, I might have to look it up. Special teams was the difference in this one. And even in a losing effort, look at George Hicks, defensive end, 10 tackles, 7 solo. Didn't look like he spent any time in the backfield.
No, but his teammate Jahad Woods did, though. I mean, he only
Yeah.
had 1 tackle for loss, but still, that's getting into the
9,
backfield.
yeah.
And 9 solos and 16 total. I mean, again, I don't know the stat spread off the top of my head, but that's 16 solo tackles and 26 total tackles between those two Washington State players alone. And
It was directly related. Listen to this before we move on. Last thing. 7-7 in the first. This is scoring each quarter. Then it was 7 BYU, 6 Washington State, 7 BYU, 6 Washington. 2 missed extra points is the difference in this game. Without going, it would have been overtime.
yeah, so the BYU just got lucky, I guess. Because, I mean, not to say they wouldn't have won if it had gone into overtime or whatever, but because Washington State missed those 2 extra points, they didn't even have to try. But
Another
Field goal.
Another amazing performance by Tyler Algier, 32 for 192, 2 touchdowns. Max Borghi as well for the Cougars, 3 touchdowns on the ground. First game after Nick Rolovich was fired, so I thought it was pretty good showing for Washington State coming off of his termination there. But yeah, good that the BYU Cougars won.
And that's going to be an interesting debacle moving forward too.
Washington State did cover though, plus 3.5 under 57. What a shocker! New Mexico, 14-3 over Wyoming. Wyoming has scored 3 points total in the last 2 games, Chris.
We've all lost that one as well.
I was surprised. I didn't watch this game at all, but when I looked at the stats, I don't know if Terry Wilson is hurt or if he got benched. Because last time I knew for the Lobos, Terry Wilson, the Kentucky transfer quarterback, was the starter for New Mexico. But obviously in this one, Isaiah Chavez threw all the passes, only had to throw 11. Very ugly game.
Thank you for saying that, because that's the only thing I had for this.
Neither Wyoming quarterback could do much. And I was surprised Levi Williams came off the bench, the former starter, Levi Williams. My guys, Xavier Valade.
We gotta X out games like this in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It was a
4-2 team and a 2-5. We got to move on.
It was a 4-2 team. It was the New Mexico defense that held both teams combined for a 6 for 27 third down day. Both around 250 total yards. Not terrible. But really, Wyoming, 2 turnovers. Other than that, everything else is pretty even, except New Mexico had 9 more minutes of possession. But other than that, yeah, pretty even on the stat sheet anyways.
Well, hopefully we don't have to worry about either of these 2 teams for the rest of the season. I don't know if they're playing anybody of importance.
They will.
But yeah, these 2 teams, specifically Wyoming, because as you alluded to, they scored 3 points in the last 2 games. They are very boring to watch and boring to cover because they don't do anything.
Well, Wyoming, we only have one more chance to possibly see them when they play Utah State. New Mexico, though, they play Fresno State and Utah State, who both have 2 losses right now. So, New Mexico plus 20, under 41, easy cash. Oh, defensively, I'm going with Joey Noble for the Lobos, 6 tackles, 4 solos, half sack, 1.5 tackles lost. Number 10, Oregon. This was quite the game. Beating UCLA 34-31 at the Rose Bowl. Anthony Brown struggled early, but came back, had a good second quarter and second half. DTR got injured, hence Ethan Garber's 5 passes there threw the game-sealing interception to Oregon on a great play by DJ James. And Travis Dye, man, at one point in the game, he had, was it four straight touches that led to touchdowns, or was it only three? I knew it was at least three. I couldn't remember if he scored all four on four straight or not. But I know he had at least three of his four touchdowns he scored on 3 consecutive touches.
Great plays, yeah.
Other than his touchdowns, though, it wasn't a great day for him. 71 total yards from scrimmage on 18 touches. Yeah, I mean, like I said, UCLA early, 14-0 off one of Anthony Brown's interceptions. And then Oregon stormed back and forth when they're on. And I want to say that and let you guys say something before I get to Mr. Thibodeau. You don't want to say? You want me to go straight to Kayvon?
Do it, please.
Because he was the game. I feel like.
Is he not the number one pick?
Oh, by far. And Lions GM Brad Holmes was in the stands for the game, and there was one other team too that I'm blanking on who has a high pick.
Anybody like the Jets? The Jets would benefit on being there if they happen to fall.
Yes. Texans GM Nick Caserio is also
Texans.
There. Thanks, Chris.
At this point, I would tank for the one pick. I'm sorry. I don't agree and ever condone losing, but the Lions, Texans, Jets, y'all ain't going nowhere this year. Nowhere this year.
No, but if I were the Texans, yes, Thibodeau is an amazing player, but I feel like he would just be another situation like they've already been in with J.J. Watt. So
you got to get a quarterback.
If I were the Texans and I get that number one pick, I would sell it for a king's ransom.
Well, and they've already taken 2 defensive ends number one already in their history, Mario Williams and Clowney.
Yeah. I agree with what you just said, Chris. And I've always been someone, if I can flip, because you don't know but other sports are a little bit easier, in my opinion, to see who pans out. And if I can flip it for 4 or 5 chances to get a Hall of Famer, I love that. I love that model.
I think pending quarterback, because Detroit and Houston don't have a quarterback of the future right now.
They don't, not at all.
I do like Davis Mills.
Thank you for saying that about Goff, because I've been saying it on our show for 2 years, and I mess up his name on purpose. No one got those puns.
But when you look at who is in the top 10 or top 5 projected right now, first of all, Eagles, they have 3 projected top 10 picks right now. Their own Miami's and the Colts. Granted, the Colts are looking good now, and they're starting to win. But
don't F those up. Don't F those things up.
Huh?
Don't F those picks up, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think if they do believe Jalen Hurts is the guy, which I still think he is.
He's not.
I think he could be.
But I don't think
a lot of help, non-help around him. But
I don't think you're in a situation where you have to go to get a quarterback. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to be your quarterback in year 8, but he might be in year 3.
I'm saying if the Eagles have like the number 3 pick, I don't think they're necessarily going to have to waste one of their other first-round picks that they have this year to go up to number 1 to get him. I think they could. I would take next year's first-round pick off the board and give it away to move up 2 spots to number 1 to take Thibodeau, and then you still have 2 more picks in the first round this year.
I'm not against that at all. I like that idea.
You want to go a quarterback with the Colts pick, which I believe that would be the pick to go quarterback in a downish year for quarterbacks. I believe the Colts pick would be the one to go. Go up, get Thibodeau with next year's first round pick.
The only thing that I would be afraid of, or to counter that, is in a not so heavy quarterback, if you want to move up 2 spots, they actually might ask this year for a king's ransom, because I think 4 or 5 teams are high on Thibodeau. That's how good he looked.
I'm sure there's 32 teams that are high on.
But you know what but you get my I would love for you guys, and I'm not an Eagles fan, but you're thinking I'm with you. I give up next year's. We're right here. Other things and I think Jalen Hurts can play NFL football. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that when we talk about the Eagles, because I heard something that you said earlier, Dan Orlovsky, on a college game. I agree with what he said today in a segment I heard on the radio. And it wasn't Jalen Hurts derogatory. It was owner down to the coach derogatory for the Eagles.
Okay, back to this game though. Yeah, Thibodeau, 9 tackles, 8 solos, 2 sacks, 4.5 tackles lost.
Dude's a beast. They don't win this game without him. They don't win this.
Destroy everyone. Like I mentioned, DJ James earlier as well, 2 interceptions, 1 from each of the UCLA quarterbacks. Very good job by him. Oregon +1 and over 62, just barely. Liberty, another scary Liberty game.
Liberty.
35-26 over North Texas. This one was at North Texas. Malik Willis bounced back. No turnovers.
3 touchdowns. He just didn't throw it a lot. He didn't throw it a lot for scoring 35 points.
Yeah, it was weird because he didn't run the ball much in this game either. So they didn't really get any running game at all. They had to throw the ball. And I don't know if Malik got hurt, and that's why Jonathan Bennett came in. I'm not sure. I wasn't watching the game.
Here's what I didn't understand about this game, because I didn't watch it fully. And it was one I followed more on my phone, but it was close. And I said, can I please turn this on? Because we've talked about Hugh Freeze and the job that he's done at Liberty, and Malik Willis being a good quarterback. And it was almost like, I'm not making fun of anybody at this level of football, but it was almost like 2 high school teams that didn't know what they had in their offense. Well, we're going to do this, and we're going to try to pin you down, and we're going to do this. And I don't trust this portion of what's going on with my team. And it was like, even though it's 35-26, points were scored. I left thinking, how did we get to 35-26? Because it was uninspiring. It was, I have better field position than you, and my special teams is going to help me. But we know Malik Willis is big play capable, and why were we not? Again, and my thing, it was a 1-5 team. How do you not trust that we can do a Philadelphia special? That's a trick play, right? For some people, it's well known since the Super Bowl. Oh, why didn't we throw a flea flicker in there? Why didn't we go downfield? And it's weird. I'm not a coach for football, so I don't know. It was just a weird. It sums up the whole weekend of football.
CJ Daniels here for the Flames. Good receiving day for him between the 2 quarterbacks. And Demario Douglas, 72-yard punt return touchdown there. Defensively, a lot of defensive stats in this one, but Grayson Murphy, this one was the one I was saying about. I believe those 2 are brothers just because both their names start with G. Parents can do that kind of thing. Like
Twin parents do normally do that. MMGG, whatever it is.
Yeah. So Grayson and Gabriel Murphy both having really solid days. 8 tackles, 1 solo, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, and 6 quarterback hurries between the 2.
6 quarterback hurries.
North Texas covered +21, over under 61 pushed. Louisville beating Boston College. Told you, Chris. 28-14, the better quarterback won, even though he didn't have as much passing stats He ran for 133 yards and 3 touchdowns. That is why I called him the better quarterback, because he can run the ball. And he's an effective runner. Malik Cunningham really does remind you of Lamar Jackson, especially since they went to the same school. Got help also on the ground from Travion Cooley, 100-yard performance there. And I think the ground game, and like I said, Malik Cunningham, I keep wanting to say Willis because it's both Maliks. Malik Cunningham, great game.
Same thing I said Friday. Difference in the quarterbacks.
This one wasn't a smart choice on my part. Going with Boston College. Yeah, Louisville was the better team, obviously, and Cunningham, like you guys have already alluded to, he is the better quarterback in this matchup, and he proved. I mean, they both did throw 2 interceptions, but Cunningham was able to make that up on the ground.
Defensively, I'm going with Quinterio Cole, 8 tackles, 7 solos, 2 pass selections, and a QB hurry. Louisville covered -7, under 58.
Houston, pulling it out.
Houston 31-24 in OT against ECU. This one was in Houston. Your boy Holt Nailers, man, 3 total touchdowns. Did turn it over once, but pretty decent day overall for him.
Always a good competitor. Tough kid.
I liked that the better overall team won, as we picked Clayton Tune. No turnovers for him. The freshman McCaskill is having a quality season in his first year in college. Tyler Sneed, I do not know if he's related, Chris, if you wanted to know that. Willie. I don't know if he's related to Willie or not.
That's a big day, though. I mean, you can't fumble it, but big day.
Yeah.
This conference is going to look very different moving forward. That's all I have to say.
Great names in this one as well. J.C. Hatfield. I'm not sure if that's actually how you say it. And then Audie.
Jasi, maybe?
Omotosho. I love that name as well.
Yeah. The Big O is his nickname.
Marcus Jones a day for the Cougars, 7 tackles, 5 solos, pass selection, and a 98-yard kick return touchdown.
All right, we got to weather the storm in the next 7 to 8 games.
Pirates covered plus 13.5, under 57.
We really do. Some of us picked some good games, and some of us did.
Number 4, Alabama, killing Tennessee, 52-24. This one was in Tuscaloosa. Bryce Young continues. I mean, he's a Heisman right now, right? I mean,
I'd say.
Well, I told you Matt Corral, in my opinion, is not a Heisman because of Bryce's. He won that head-to-head matchup, in my opinion.
Yeah. I might need to place a bet on Kenny Pickett for Heisman.
Well,
I might see what the odds are.
We're not going to get in a long drawn-out conversation because we talked about time limits on him. And the Heisman needs to be rebranded different. It used to mean the MVP. If you look back, like Archie Griffin or even Herschel Walker, Georgia wouldn't have been good with Herschel Walker without him. Now the Heisman is who's the biggest playmaker, who's the quarterback, commercial person in America, especially with NIL now. So let's have a Heisman and let's have an MVP candidate, because I still like Bryce is the front runner to me, but I still don't think that's who drives Alabama, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, he had a great day. Brian Robinson as well, 3 total touchdowns, or 3 touchdowns on the ground, 107 rushing yards. Cedric Tillman interesting 150-yard day. Hendon Hooker didn't play bad at all. I mean, a pick, but otherwise 282, 3 touchdowns against Alabama's defense, pretty solid.
And thank you for saying that, because that's the first thing I saw. Not in this game because I stopped watching it, but in our stats. I think they found their quarterback at least going the rest of the season, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I believe he's a grad transfer, so I don't think he has any more.
But he's better than Milton, who started.
Yeah. Terrible. No, terrible. I don't even know how he got transferred to Tennessee in the first place. Anyways, Jamison Williams continues Alabama's receiver trend. Him and John Mechie both over 100 yards. Mechie with 2 touchdowns there. And defensively, I'm going with Byron Young for Tennessee. 6 tackles, 2 solos, sack, tackle loss, 3 quarterback hurries.
We've got to decipher the Heisman MVP, because I still think Wake Forest quarterback that's my pick.
Alabama covered minus 25.5 over 68. Big one.
Oh man, Alabama's expected to be 7-1, 8-0.
I don't know why I just threw that paper. There's more games on this one. Number 22, San Diego State. Close one, 20-14 over Air Force. This one was at the Air Force Academy. And dude, I watched this game and it was just such a heartbreak. 20-0. 20-0. San Diego State's up. Air Force storms back behind Warren Bryan.
And I got excited that we were going to win our pick.
Yeah, Zeke Daniels was injured in this game. Warren Bryan came in, was slinging the ball around, running it. Had some great throws. Just couldn't come up in the end. Didn't have enough, especially the SDSU pass rush at the end was pretty good.
So I'm just ticked. I'm ticked off.
Yeah.
San Diego State's undefeated. I believe in people eventually have to get beat, whether it's the Cardinals this week in the NFL or not. And I've got to roll with the military community. But then you get back to that Navy tie and you're like, you messed me up, Air Force. I should have went with San Diego State. They're undefeated for a reason. I had a lot of mixed emotions in this game. If you ask my wife, I probably broke a few mirrors and threw some stuff. And she's like, what's going on? It's just San Diego State and Air Force. And I was like, you got to remember, we got standing picks against each other. I'm competitive.
Yeah, and they kept showing the Commander-in-Chief trophy.
Oh.
And I believe like Air Force has won a bunch more than the other 2 schools have.
No. They've won the most recent 2 to 3 years. They've been lagging behind.
Or is it Navy that's won the most?
We've won the most, but we've lost it the last 3 years. And before that, we won it 5 years in a row.
Oh, okay. I don't remember if it was in this game or if it was in the Army game. I think this was the only one I actually watched. Or no, I did watch the Army game. But I was like, I don't give a crap about the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. I just need Air Force to win the dang game.
Air Force won it in the pandemic, and we talked about it. They only played, when we had the show last year, they only played the military schools, while Navy and Army played everybody. The year before that, Army won it, and they won it the year before. But up until then, Navy had a 5-year run, and that was what was so. My first year in Georgia was the significant thing. Oh, you're moving here. Navy's been winning the President's Cup, and then I move here, and we've lost it like every year. I need to move back to a Navy Marine base, I guess.
But I told you, man, the quarterback play is uninspiring for San Diego State. I don't know how they're going to stay undefeated for much longer without improving play.
That's why I picked Air Force. I don't see them running the table for the rest of the year.
Well, because they're playing exactly how the Big Ten teams are. They're one of the best rushing teams in the country. Granted, I mean, obviously they're going to get out rushed by a triple option team, but they did only run for 157 yards in this one. Air Force defense, very good.
One turnover through the air could be the difference.
Yep.
Mhm.
San Diego State +3, under 39. Defensively, I'm going with Jordan Jackson for the Falcons. 4 tackles, 4 solos, sack, 2 tackles lost.
I like Trey Taylor there for that one.
Number
9
24,
total.
UTSA stays undefeated, rolling over Louisiana Tech. 45-16, baby. Frank Harris, no turnovers through the air, 193, 2 touchdowns. And our man, our boy, the GOAT of UTSA, Sincere McCormick, 23 for 113 and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Man is a beast. Zachary Franklin went over 100 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. And they got an offense, man. They have quite the offense out in San Antonio right now.
Yeah, Sincere McCormick, I think, has been probably the best, or maybe not the best, but most consistent running back in all of college football, I think, so far this year. And again, we always talk about the quarterbacks in the Heisman conversation, which is warranted because they are usually the Heisman or MVP or whatever. But Sincere McCormick, I think, is making a case for himself too.
I think what's great about UTSA right now is because Cincinnati is not guaranteed right now, but still got a couple games, but more than likely going to get into the college football playoff. Granted, we haven't had the first rankings come out yet, so we don't know how the committee actually feels about Cincinnati.
UTSA would never make the rankings.
But I think that what's great about UTSA is that they're undefeated, and with Coastal's loss now, they're ranked above Coastal Carolina. So UTSA has a real good shot at being that at-large team to get into New Year's.
No.
Why not?
Look, I am telling you this right now. I'm telling you this right now. The Cincinnati brand is 10 times different than UTSA. UTSA could go 25-0. I'm going to say this on camera right now, and they would never make the college football playoff.
No, I'm not saying the college football playoff. I didn't say that.
Oh, I thought that's what I thought you were
to the New Year's Six Bowl.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were replacing them with Cincinnati.
Hell no.
That's all I heard.
That's what I'm
Chris,
saying. Because Cincinnati is the highest. Cincinnati's the highest group of 5.
Okay.
But they're going to probably be in the college football playoff, so that takes them out of running for that large bid.
Sorry.
So that means UTSA is in a square position to get the at-large bid right now, I feel like.
I'm drinking seltzer water right now, not beer. I really thought I heard you say something about Cincinnati and then UTSA if they lost.
Yeah, I got confused too, Mark, so that's all right.
I thought it was just me.
The at-large bid for the highest
see
a group of 5 teams.
I could see them maybe possibly dark horse getting a New Year's Six Bowl.
Which would be a monster.
It would be a huge win and a boost.
How much money that would be ridiculous, especially now that they're moving to the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
Or no. Yeah.
No.
Are they moving? No, they're going to the American.
They're going, yes.
This is what conference realignment does to us, man. We don't know who's going.
UTSA has been invited to the American.
So they're going to the American. So, they're already getting a money boost there. And now if they could get into New Year's Six, that'd be ridiculous how much money they could get.
I do apologize. I swear you were like, if Cincinnati loses, they could drop in as an undefeated. I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah, I do think, though, if UTSA goes undefeated and they win Conference USA, I think there's a real good shot they get that New Year's Six Bowl over even a conference championship, even a one-loss conference champion, Coastal Carolina. Maybe. I don't know. I think the committee likes Coastal from last year, so they might not be as friendly to UTSA this year.
That's a good conversation. I would like to say yes, you invite an undefeated team. If I was a betting man and I don't bet, I would bet against UTSA getting that New Year's Six. Just because it's
that's the thing though. There is also the fact of SMU and San Diego State.
Exactly.
And BYU's ranked again this week, so they're a 2-loss team, though, so that's probably
People would go, who the heck is UTSA, and flip the channel? And what drives everything?
It depends who they're playing against.
Money.
I think SMU will eventually get that, though, probably. SMU is too good. Tanner Mordecai, which we'll get to. Actually, no, we won't because they were on a bye.
They were.
UTSA covered, though, -5.5. Over 60 hit defensively. 2 guys. Clarence Hicks, every week he's on the UTSA games. 4 tackles, 3 souls, 2.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles lost, 2 quarterback hurries. And Dadrian Taylor also usually on the UTSA games as well. 51-yard pick 6 to go along with 4 tackles and a solo. Look at this. UL Monroe's on a win streak, boys. 4-3.
I don't want to talk about this.
41-31 over the Jags of South Alabama.
Don't want to talk about this game.
Taylor Rogers, lights out performance. 369, 409 total. Four total
touchdowns. 4 touchdowns.
Jake Bentley, if he wouldn't have had 2 picks, man, he would be right there too. 324 touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean,
well, you know what?
Balling.
Chandler Rogers was a Rolls Royce, and Jake Bentley was a Bentley, and the Rolls Royce won this week. That's all I can say. And if no commentator said that, that's kind of funny. Just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, I was shocked, kind of. But, hey, man, UL Monroe's got to win 2 more games. They're in a bowl game. Why not?
And you could talk about them a year ago being just in the sewer.
They were the worst team in college football. I mean,
we talked about this on that show. I didn't want to say it. I was waiting for you to say it. And I love it. That's a turnaround. It's great.
My guy that I know the most from South Alabama, though, Jalen Tolbert, balled out 10 receptions, 155, 2 touchdowns, did turn it over once. But his counterpart, Will Derrick, kind of did the same thing, 5 for 135, touchdown, turned it over as well. So a lot of stats, a lot of touchdown catches in this one. Had National Tight Ends Day for Lincoln Sefcik. Scored a touchdown there. But defensively, I'm going Caleb Thomas for ULM. 5 tackles, 2 souls, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles lost, and a QB hurry. What is UL Monroe's mascot, Mark?
It's an eagle, not an eagle. It's a bird, obviously. You can see it.
I wasn't sure if it was the Falcons.
What's Winthrop's? It's the same thing as I hate to say that, as Winthrop.
See who can Google it first. Warhawks, the Warhawks. Yeah. Ace the Warhawk is their mascot. UL Monroe Warhawks. There you go. One of the few mascots I don't know. Plus 13.5 for ULM, over 51. What a game. I watched this from the kickoff to the last.
The one game that I said, let's roll with each other because I thought they were even. And we didn't go with Jake Hayner.
Dude, I mean, it was a great game. Fresno State 34-32 over Nevada. I mean,
Carson Strong still had huge numbers, guys. He threw 61 times. That is Kurt Warner numbers against the New York Giants when he got hurt, when he threw his 55th pass back in the day for all you young people.
Both quarterbacks played well, but yeah, I mean, it came down to a missed 2-point conversion at the end.
I know.
But I still am in love with Carson Strong. There were a couple passes, one particular that I remember during the game. He dropped a dime on the sideline right above a defender's fingers into the bucket It was kind of against the cover 2. So for anyone that doesn't know, the cover 2, you have a flat defender and a deep half, and the open area is right in between those two. And he literally dropped it right in the bucket. I mean, it was an NFL throw. And that's exactly what I said when I watched that play. I was like, oh my God, that is what I want to see when he gets to the league next year. So
what are his specs? How tall is he?
he's massive. He's like 6'4", 250. He is like Big Ben. And that's what I believe. I believe people have comped him. I think people have comped him to Ben Roethlisberger because of how big he is.
It translates.
But yeah, Ronnie Rivers got hurt for Fresno in this game. That was after he ran for a 76-yard touchdown, which was bad to see because Ronnie Rivers is a great running back and the all-time leading rusher in Fresno State history. But it didn't matter. Jordan Mims said, I got it. It's fine. 134 and a touchdown off 23 carries. Also scored on a receiving touchdown as well. And Romeo Doubs, I mean, this guy is him and Cole Turner. I mean, they got some receivers at Nevada. Wide receiver, tight end combo. But Doubs, I mean, 19 receptions, 203 yards, and a touchdown. That's fantastic. Turner scored the touchdown to get it to a 2-point conversion to tie the game. Just couldn't get it. But yeah, all around, I mean, this was an amazing game. I had fun watching it. David Perales for the Bulldogs, 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss. Nevada did cover because they scored the touchdown. That's the only reason that they covered. Plus 3.5. Over 65. That also hit the over when they scored that last touchdown as well.
Just barely.
I had 64, but it didn't matter because I lost with Air Force losing. That's what lost the little 4-leg parlay I had. It's okay because I told you I'm the king of losing parlays by 1 leg.
Of course.
And I have the screenshots to back it up.
Lies.
Number 5, Ohio State trouncing Indiana 54-7. CJ Stroud continues. I mean, he has to be in Heisman candidacy as right now as well. There's not many people that are playing as well as CJ Stroud is. Indiana looks like trash right now. Yeah, Michael Penix didn't play in this game. Jack Tuttle did, and I feel bad that he got to play in this game. But, yeah.
Indiana's been a bit of a surprise for me because I was excited. You know, Indiana basketball school, they did so well last year. Can you build off of it? That goes back to that sustainability that we talk about with, you know, Saban and other schools. But the one loss is something that we can talk about with Ohio State. It's Oregon. Only thing that I can say is if I'm in committee and it comes down to a Georgia undefeated and maybe Oklahoma stays undefeated and Cincinnati, who is that 4th team? Is it a 1-loss Alabama? If Ohio State does run the table the rest of the way, is it a 1-loss Ohio State? Maybe not because you didn't have Thibodeau. But maybe if Oregon stays 1 loss, is it Oregon? And I really love the narrative moving forward. There's going to be some 1-loss teams vying for that 4th spot, and I can't wait. I cannot wait. It could be a 1-loss Georgia if they lose to Alabama.
No. Travion Henderson continues a stellar freshman season right now. 3 total touchdowns, 81 rushing yards, 14 receiving. Jackson Smith and Jigba, the leading receiver in this one shy of 100 yards. Mark Sky Olave got in the end zone once again.
Mm-hmm.
And Micah McFadden, the leader of the the leader of the Hoosier defense, 6 tackles, 5 solos, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss. Ohio State covered -21 over 59 thanks to Indiana touchdown. And it was 7-7 at one point, just saying.
Hey, who was your Heisman, Rusty, at the beginning of the year? You remember?
No, I don't.
Because I know Chris's eyes are out of the window.
I don't remember which quarterback I picked.
I don't remember either. That's why I asked, because I know Chris's
Oh,
eyes.
JT. Yeah, mine's out. JT Daniels is out.
If he didn't get injured, though. If he didn't get injured. All right, anyway.
Number 13, Notre Dame, beating USC 31-16 in South Bend. Neither quarterback was good necessarily. I mean, Slovis was 1 yard short of a 300, but he turned it over twice. Kyron Williams has another up game, you know.
This is what we expected.
Well, we say that every time, and then he goes back down the next game. Like, he's just a roller coaster this year, and Notre Dame can't consistently get a ground game going every single week. So, but this, I will say this because we haven't had USC that much. This is what they expected when they got Keontae Ingram in a transfer from Texas this offseason, and he hasn't done much at all for USC this year. But this right now, this was the game that he finally got it going. It's just that his quarterback hurt him turning it over twice and couldn't do enough against a pretty stout Irish defense. Drake London, though, he will be a first-round pick next year for sure. 15 receptions, 171 yards. He's big, 6'4", jump ball kind of receiver.
That's exactly who I was going to. I know he didn't find the end zone, which would have helped USC. Some of that can be play calling, but you can't reciprocate the size that he has. And his hands for his size are strong.
Mm-hmm.
I would put USC.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're good.
Sometimes size doesn't equate to the softest hands. I'm not saying he's got, the hands of whoever you want to, but his size creates space and he's able to catch it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think, Pete, you have to put USC up there with Alabama and Ohio State as one of the best receiver producing schools that there is.
Oh, 100%. I mean, those are the top three in my opinion. I don't.
Because when you think about it, I mean, you got Juju.
I'm not going outside of that.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, Equinemius St. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Equinemius hasn't done much for Tigers, but
and it depends on how old you are as well. I hate to say that because I'm older than you guys, but you can go to Keyshawn, Steve Smith, people back in the day that you're like, oh yeah, they're from USC, but you still have your Julio Jones and your Devontaes recently and things like that. David Boston, people forget, was a great long-time receiver in the NFL coming from Ohio State. Not a superstar in the NFL, but superstar in college.
defensively, Isaiah Foskey for the Irish, 5 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles loss. Notre Dame -7.5 covered, under 60.
But I got to ask it, but is that last guy related to the quarterbacks?
Chris, you've asked this before. I don't know.
He is. We established that he's a cousin, and I think he married into the family though, and he took their last name. Or I know he's married some way. He's either associated, but I really think he married into the family. But he's a cousin.
Okay.
Which most people go, how do you're a cousin? But I think they equate him as a cousin by marriage or something. Mm-hmm.
Number 17, Texas A&M, dude, they are steamrolling people right now.
Rolling after the Bama. Is this not the A&M team that people talked about vying for SEC West championship which it's always good to beat up on someone that doesn't know who their quarterback is going to be from week 1 to week 2 to week 3 to week 4.
Yeah, this is the A&M team that I had predicted was going to be here in the preseason. Obviously, I don't think that they're going to be as high as I had them coming into the season, but they're looking good now.
Yeah,
I would love to see their stats. Anytime that Spiller goes over 100 yards, I think they're undefeated or close or like one loss in his career.
Yeah, 44-14 win over South Carolina. I don't even know who Jason Brown is. I believe he's a transfer. His name sounds familiar from another school, not South Carolina. He's probably a transfer in my mind. Zeb Nolan didn't start the game. Jason Brown did, and Zeb came in at the end. But Calzada, But the running backs, a change. Spiller, dominant on the ground. Jalen Weidermeyer tipped in for National Tight End weekend, 4 for 75, 2 touchdowns. And then the other playmaker for the Aggie offense, Aniyah Smith, all he did was catch 2 balls for 28 yards and return a kickoff 95 yards to the house. So defensively, Tyree Johnson for A&M, 2 tackles, 2 souls, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. 2s are wild.
I like it.
A&M minus 19.5 and over 46. Miami upsets number 18 NC State 31-30, and I freaking hate Miami so much.
I'm walking away.
Like, they screw me out of a parlay last weekend, and this week they screw me out of a pick win because freaking Tyler Van Dyke decides to show up for once and 325 and 4 touchdowns. No pick.
Nope.
Evan Leary did also 310, 3 total touchdowns.
Actually, I have to say this. It was a good game to watch in most regards. The ball was moving on both sides of the ball. There's some penalties that both of them could have done without. And it came down to 1 or 2 plays down the end, down the seams. So it wasn't a bad football game, but it goes back to why didn't Miami move the ball this way in every game? And it's the same old NC State story that I've had for the last 3 years as co-host. Anytime that I pick against them, they win. Anytime I pick with them, they lose. And so I can't figure out NC State.
Me neither. And I just hate Miami, like I said.
I don't know, but I'm looking at the scoring breakdown here because I was curious if it was actually a close game all the way through or if it was a comeback or anything. But I find it very interesting that NC State decided to kick a field goal with 5:39 left in the game rather than go for it.
Thank you for bringing. There's 2 things that I want to actually talk about. That we're at the lake with my family's or my wife's uncle, and we watched the game, then paused it and recorded it because we were smoking something in a smoker. Yeah, you got to go check on it, wood chips, whatever. We took about 20-25 minutes away from this game, and he said, "Lay your phone down. I don't want to hear any." He's an NC State grad. The 2 things I took away from that when I thought the game was over, I'm like, there's no way we're watching this. And someone texted me and said, "Oh, NC State failed again." Was that? But Diaz also, in my opinion, coached his way out of, the AD said we're going to take everybody's on the chopping block, but not necessarily our coach. We'll look at how the trajectory goes each season. He coached himself out of the job because he almost coached himself out of a win. And he called a timeout for North Carolina State at one point leading into the halftime. And I said, this could be the difference. He took a timeout when NC State had no timeouts left. And NC State actually scored going into the half. And I said, oh, we have some momentum. Maybe we win this ball. And blatantly, NC State was out of timeouts. They have to go under center, spike the ball. He called a timeout, and they kick a field goal before halftime. And I said, and her uncle, who's more of a baseball guy, goes, why did he just give them a free timeout? And I said, I have no idea. Don't know why.
I will say the ball's on Manny Diaz, though. On a must-have 3rd and 10.
I know.
Game.
Yep.
He said, all right, freshie, go out there and make a throw.
He did. The
freshman quarterback, man, slings it across the middle. Granted, it was terrible defense by NC State.
Well, when that happened, I looked at him and I said, he might have redeemed himself before halftime. And then I said, what is Dorian or who? I don't know their defense. Why are you in that defense?
Yeah, I don't understand why you're running a zone on 3rd and 10. I do understand why you're running a zone, but I would have ran, sticks defense. Why not?
Sticks, bumping, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was one of the – I got to talk football during the whole game, and that was just exciting for me. And that's why I have I was scratching my head for both of the coaching staffs, in my opinion.
Another great performance for the Oklahoma transfer, Charleston Rambo, 9 for 127, 2 touchdowns. And defensively, Drake Thomas for the Wolfpack, though, 9 tackles, 7 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and a QB hurry.
Rambo has a chance to play on Sundays, a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Miami plus 3.5, over 55.
I do believe that.
What a barn burner in Charlottesville.
Yeah, baby.
I did not expect this to be this high scoring, 48-40. The Cavaliers get the win over Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets here. Brennan Armstrong, monster day. I mean,
killed it.
495 total yards, 6 total touchdowns.
Best performance of Saturday. Am I wrong?
Jeff Sims as well, though. I mean, 300, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, though. But yeah, I mean, Brennan Armstrong was the story of the game.
Mm-hmm.
He just dominated the Georgia Tech defense. I didn't expect Virginia's defense to give up 40, though. That was the big shocker, I think, to me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not going to drag this on.
Jahmyr Gibbs, great day for the Yellow Jackets as well. 13 for 132 and a touchdown. And Dontavian Wicks, leading receiver, usually every game for the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be honest about this. I have no idea where Jeff Collins came from.
I don't know.
That's the head coach of Georgia Tech, and I think he's doing a great job in his first year. That doesn't mean that it reciprocates to 3-4 years, but Georgia Tech has always been like that triple option, get beat up by all the ACC schools. They're competitive. And 3 and 4, he doesn't like that on the win-loss column. Their fans don't like, but you have to be proud of what Georgia Tech is putting on the field, in my opinion. These are coaches that aren't going to get, hey, good job, but gosh darn, compared to last year, 10 times better product.
I concur.
No idea where he came from. Sorry. I have no idea.
Okay, defensively, I'm going with Georgia Tech. Charlie Thomas, 6 tackles, 4 solos, half sack, half tackle loss, and a QB hurry. Virginia, minus 6.5 covers, over 66.
Blowing out of the water there.
Oregon State. I told you.
Shut up.
42-34.
Shut up.
Nolan is my dude. Granted, he got help from BJ Baylor. But Cameron Rising, I think they have a future for Utah. I think he's got a solid foundation as a young player. I believe he's a freshman, maybe a redshirt sophomore or a redshirt freshman. But both quarterbacks pretty young, I believe. Chance Nolan's a junior, I think, actually.
Mhm.
But I've been impressed with Oregon State, man. They have brought their program back and are squarely in the conversation. Really, the North Division of the Pac-12 could come down to the Civil War. It really could. And I believe
If it's in Corvallis,
Corvallis,
Oregon does not have success rate there. They don't.
because Oregon State beat them in Eugene last year. And I believe it's in Corvallis this year.
I've talked about this for 3 years. I think it's one of the toughest places to play. I did on Friday think that Utah would build off because you guys were like, oh, you sniped me. I remember one of you guys used that. And I said, that's the Utah team that I thought was going to move forward. And they lost, but it was in a valiant effort, right? It's a touchdown, 2-point conversion. It's, within reach. They didn't finish it off in Corvallis, so I lost this one. I'm gonna cry. Screw you guys. But I think Oregon State is one of those teams you don't want to play, and I think that's what you're getting at Rusty. Is it could come down to this game, and do you really want to play your arch nemesis that has success against you? Maybe not, but I would take Thibodeau any day on my team to disrupt your backfield.
Yeah. Let's see. What else I want to talk about this game real quick. Defensively, a lot of good things here. I am going to go Avery Roberts, though. 16 tackles like that, 7 solos. Tackle loss, pass flex, and a QB hurry. And then tight end Luke Musgrave returned a blocked punt, 27 yards for a touchdown as well. That was the turning point in this game. It was very close. Or the Beavers got a blocked punt and took it to the house. Really changed the momentum in this one.
What have I said? Every football game, down in distance and special teams. Special teams is overlooked.
Oregon State plus 3.5 over 50. FCS game of the week. Mark, your alma mater almost did it, man. They were so close on the road at the Fargo Dome. Number 3, North Dakota State, 27-20 over number 17, Missouri State. Go ahead, Mark.
Quarterback play. I mean, you had to switch quarterbacks to win this game, which signals one thing. You have more talent on your team to win a high-profile game. What does that look like 2 years down the road with Bobby Petrino being in Springfield, Missouri, which has this could be a big-time hub for FCS in the future. But they aren't on the pedigree of the Dakotas. We all know South Dakota, North Dakota is really good at football. And for me as a coach, when we're walking away from this on the road, I believe it was on the road.
Yes.
It's a teaching point, right? Like, hey guys, follow the culture we're building. We're going to get more things. Next year, we're going to be even more prepared. We don't like to lose at all. We hate losing. This is unacceptable. But next year, we're going to punch them in the mouth. And maybe we're number 15 against number 2 next year, and we beat them.
Yeah. Not many stats, really. I mean, Christian Watson, the best receiver that NDSU has, over 100 yards. Tyrone Scott for the Bears was over 100 as well. Great name there, Phoenix Sproles for end.
That is a great name.
Don't ask, Chris. Don't ask because I don't know.
I wasn't going to, but I did think about it.
How tall is he? Look him up. We'll know. If he's 5'9", he is in the family. If he's 6'4", not a part of the family.
Well, even 5'9's pushing it though. Depending on, I don't know how tall. I don't know if Sproles married a taller wife or not. I don't know. If he's 5'9", his wife has to be taller than him. So, but yeah, Jasir Cox for North Dakota State with a pick. Kyrie McDonald also with a pick for Missouri State.
He's 6 feet, 193, but he grew up in Minnesota. I'm going to say probably not related.
Yeah, apparently he is the cousin of Darren Sproles.
There you go.
He is cousin of running back. Oh my gosh.
Missouri State did cover though, Mark. Like I said, good teams win, great teams cover. So
Amen to that. That is the best. You are right, Rosie.
plus 12, under 48. I won. All right, NFL here.
I believe I
Giants
went
steamrolling the
22.
Panthers at MetLife, 25-3. I mean,
what do you want to talk about? Besides,
we're not picking the Panthers again this year.
This is what I would call, without cussing, we had these keywords in the Navy. If you weren't doing your job or your uniform didn't look very good, instead of saying SHI, you look like a soup sandwich. This is a soup sandwich game, y'all. Go and get, I don't know what the optics look like going getting Deshaun Watson, but you're a quarterback away because I still believe in your defense. This was a soup sandwich.
Again, like I said on Friday during the preview, the loss of Christian McCaffrey matters. Darnold looked like the MVP of the league the first 3 weeks when he had Christian McCaffrey with him. Since he's lost McCaffrey, he's basically turned back to the Jets version of Sam Darnold.
And I think we all picked the Panthers. Or did you?
Yes,
did
we did.
someone pick?
Yeah.
No, we were all on the Panthers.
I thought, some injuries on the Giant side. I can't explain it besides this. Whatever. They lost. they lost fair and square. There's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it. You lost fair and square, and we can talk about the one thing that people are taking away from this game. Daniel Jones is freaking athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you he could catch an alley-oop and dunk it on some NBA players. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Every Giants fan that I know has posted that picture of Daniel Jones catching that football. Like, it is like their highlight of the year so far. It's probably the best thing that happened to the Giants since the Odell catch, because they've just been bad the last however many years.
Well, they don't have much else to look forward to, so why not?
And what?
Yeah, that's coming from an Eagles fan too, so yeah.
What does that tell you? Would he look really good under center for the Eagles? Would he look good under center for the Dolphins? I mean, I'm not a big Tua fan right now.
No.
Would he or would he not? We don't know because he's not under center, and you may never know. It all goes back to your offensive line and who you have around. But there's no reason that the Panthers don't lose this game 25-17, in my opinion. Not that they should flat out win this game, but 25-3, guys.
I mean, not that Darnold was doing any good, but PJ Walker was even worse. 3 for 14 or 3 out of 14.
Oh yeah, dude.
Atrocious.
And I'll go to say this. I will say this so we don't spend 3 hours. I think the Panthers' offensive line, I don't know how you won 3 games because it might be the worst offensive line. It really, I don't know if Patrick Mahomes would make a difference right now. The offensive line for the Panthers is atrocious. It's the same thing with your Jets. The offensive line is atrocious. Those are the 2 teams that I look at and say, you have no offensive line. I don't care who's under center.
Hey, the Jets' offensive line hasn't been that bad this year.
Well, then your quarterback has been that bad, I guess.
Yeah. So,
I mean, Chuba, 12 carries for 28 yards. That's directly your offensive line, coupled with your quarterbacks and 2 quarterbacks that didn't perform. To me, that's not a talent. It's not a read. It's not your option, because we're going to get to the Chiefs. It's not check downs. It's your offensive line.
yeah, I think if PJ would have played better, there would have been more of a question of whether Sam Darnold was going to start again. But I don't think there's any question Matt Rule is making the right choice in saying that Sam Darnold is still the starting quarterback.
He's got no one else.
For now.
Until Deshaun comes in.
Yeah.
And
Which I'm praying for.
That's your optics. That is all optics at this point.
And I think the biggest other thing is Robbie Anderson catch the damn football. He had a freaking million more targets in this game.
And he's not on our board. He's not on the board.
Well, I think I might have missed, or I think he was one target short of getting on the board because I put anyone that has 10 or more targets, regardless of whether they score a touchdown or if they're the leading receiver. If they have 10 or more targets, they're on the board. And I think he had 9. That's why he's not on here.
I had
3 out of 9. 3 out of 9, 33.3%.
You both and I had high hopes, not only because we cheer for the Panthers, but their defense last year I thought was going to get better this year. I'm not saying it's gotten worse, but the offense has gotten worse. And you're right, Chris. That's the scary part. Do you build around Saquon or Christian McCaffrey? And we saw both teams going up against each other that were building around their running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you look at Anderson's targets the last 4 weeks, 11, 7, 11, and 9.
Well, he's the best wide receiver on their roster.
And he's caught 5, 2, 3, and 3.
Well, he's turning into Nelson Aguilar right now. He really is.
Defensively, though, a lot of great performances. Georgia boy, Azeez Ojulari, fantastic day. 5 tackles, 3 solos, 2.5 sacks, 3 tackles lost, 4 quarterback hits. I mean, you can pick him, Leonard Williams, Brian Burns, any of them. I mean, fantastic performances by the defensive lineman in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what won you the game.
Giants +3, under 43. A lot of unders this weekend in NFL, weirdly, until we get to the later games. Packers 24-10. They are 6-1. Mr. Rogers, another great performance here. 274, 3 touchdowns. I still like Heineke, man. He's fighter.
Look,
Quite the fighter.
I'm glad you said that because there's been talk about would the touchdown be different for somebody that was a quarterback, but it shows you that he cared with the time and clock when he dove for that touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers, go ahead.
They got railed on some calls in the red zone.
And that's what I would agree with you. I think that's a direct reflection of coaching when you like coaches or you don't. I think Ron Rivera gives everybody a toughness. I think he's made Cam Newton better than what he was. I don't think Tyler Heineke would be any better on another team. He'd be worse. And on the flip side, okay, it's an ugly game. You win 24-10. We're going to play an undefeated team. Obviously, Devontae Adams, I just found out, is not going to be playing. That's huge going to the desert. But I always say this to everybody. I don't care how you win, and it builds character all the way up to the Super Bowl. Let's say the Packers are 6-2 after Thursday. They have found ways to win. People were so suspect after that Saints game. It builds character. I don't care if they're 6-2. Who in their division is gonna test them besides the Vikings? And I don't know anybody would have said that at the beginning of the year.
I mean, the first thing I got to say about this game is we all picked them as the lock, so we got that going for us. But yeah, Rodgers and co. have looked great so far this season after week 1, this game included. But on the flip side, Washington's offense has looked relatively good too, namely one Mr. Terry McLaurin. He's probably one of the most underrated wide receivers in all of football.
How many teams would like to have him?
Yeah, I don't know what his contract is right now, but he definitely needs to get out of Washington.
I'm having fun on my fantasy team with Terry McLaurin, that's for sure. My dynasty league team, anyway. I don't have him on any of my regular redraft leagues. or keepers. But yeah, McLaurin, Robert Tunyon got on the board. This was our first one, first
Tight end day.
tight end touchdown for National Tight End Day yesterday. So that was good to see. And defensively, I'm going with Jonathan Allen for Washington. 2 sacks, 2 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 solos, 2 tackles for loss, and 3 quarterback hits. Montez Sweat as well. Very good games for the first round picks. Chase Young continues to suck. I don't know why I picked him for Defense Player of the Year. Packers covered -8.5 and under 48. Titans, what a shock, man. Killing the Chiefs 27-3. Ryan Tannehill, dude, I was so happy. I got Tannehill off of waivers for, I think it was, I think I might have overspent a little bit. I think I spent $65 on him on the Fab waiver wire system. And I was shocked that he was on waivers, that he was available first off, because I had Carson Wentz, Tua, and Sam Darnold as my quarterbacks. And so I was, getting along because Sam Darnold was playing pretty well. And then I was going to start Wentz this week. But then I was like, bro, why not Ryan Tannehill against a suspect Chiefs defense? And he came through. So,
yeah, I played against Tannehill and Henry on the same team. So, yeah, they kind of destroyed me here. Although this was probably Derrick Henry's worst game of the season so far. He didn't crack 100 yards. Although he did throw the touchdown, so
I'm gonna piggyback off that for 2 short synopses. The 2 things I got from this game. 1, Patrick Mahomes had many checkdowns and he didn't go to them. And I'm gonna piggyback off what Dan Orlovsky said. And he's played in the league for years, but he back up now. He's an analyst. Is with the defense as bad as it is, he's making these home run plays. And if he checked down 8 times in the game, it would have been 2nd and 2 or 2nd and 3. Third thing, there is no reason Derrick Henry is not in the running for an MVP. I don't care if it was 86 yards this week. They just took care of the Chiefs. And the Titans are actually a Super Bowl contender. I think what happened last year against the Ravens, they could capitalize and beat the Ravens on the way to the next step.
Still not getting past the Bills. I don't care if they beat them. That was in Tennessee. If they get to play the Bills in the playoffs, I believe it will be in Buffalo, which will be an atmosphere.
I agree.
Well, Buffalo's got to catch up first.
But
they're tied. Never mind.
Those are good talking points. And we haven't seen there's no reason he can't be an MVP.
But I was correct, though. I told y'all Chris Jones returning for the Chiefs was a major factor in holding Derrick Henry under 86. I also thought the linebackers for the Chiefs played pretty well. Nick Bolton, Anthony Hitchens. But it's so weird that, the Chiefs defense had been improving from their first Super Bowl to their last appearance last year. I thought Steve Spagnuolo had brought the defense very far along, and it's weird that they've regressed so much. Especially, they have guys like Chris Jones, which I think it's not the defensive line. They don't have a pass rush for some reason.
The secondary.
I don't know why they don't have a pass rush. I mean, they have Frank Clark and Chris Jones. I have no idea why they can't rush the passer. But it's probably what Mark is getting to. They can't cover long enough for the pass rush to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't had a corner since.
Where's Justin Houston this year?
He's on Indianapolis. Or no, he's on Baltimore.
Baltimore's. Mm-hmm. I think he was and maybe no one talks about this. I haven't heard it. Maybe I'm just totally in left field. I think he was the cog last year to keep. He hasn't
been in Kansas City. He was in Indianapolis for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
They lost a line. Maybe they lost a linebacker to Baltimore. Or they lost a linebacker last year they didn't resign.
I don't know. Oh, Reggie Ragland? I don't know where he's at right now, but yeah, they just haven't had a corner since what's his face? Um,
Well, they've had a few. Eric Berry, that was before they went last year.
the safety though, they have Matthew. They have Tyrann Matthew at safety. They traded a corner a couple years ago that I can't remember, and he was like a second-year guy. I can't remember for personal issues. That's why they traded him. I don't know. Regardless,
Well, they had Peters, didn't they?
Marcus Peters. That's why.
They did.
And they haven't had a quality corner since Marcus Peters.
Mm-hmm.
So just do what the Vikings do. Just draft 5 corners every year. Hope one picks out.
Well, let's move on.
Yeah, AJ Brown, great game for him. Travis Kelce didn't get in the end zone for National Tight End Day, but Michael Pruitt did on a pass from, like Chris said, Derrick Henry. Defensively, Danico Autry for the Titans, 3 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, 4 quarterback hits. Titans +4, under 59.
Roll.
Falcons beat the Dolphins 30-28 in Miami. Screw you, Chris. The Dolphins should have won this game. Tua was actually the highest scoring fantasy quarterback this week for anyone that didn't know, which was crazy. I know. Well, he scored 4 touchdowns. That's why. Even regardless of the 2 picks. But I still think Tua is playing well. The defense has let him down. The defense has let him down twice. Back-to-back games, they've lost on a game-winning field goal. I mean, you can't ask much more from Tua getting your team in position and getting the lead, and then you lose it on a last-second field goal that's out of your control and it's in the defense's hands.
This made me scratch my head because we all picked the Colts, and why didn't we just say that was our dog? We won.
I did.
And I know, but we all picked the Colts was what made me laugh. We went 1-1 because they covered by 2.5.
They covered.
They covered by 2.5, and I thought they were going to do the most Falcon thing and have a lead and lose it. And good on their kicker. That's great. The one takeaway from this game, 2, is yes, Tua played good. I always thought the Dolphins would be better this year because they had a stout defense last year, but they gave up 30. But what a coming out party for Kyle Pitts. This is what they drafted him for, even though he didn't get into the red zone. 8 targets, 7 receptions, 163 yards. Going into Florida, I hope that's not a nightmare of what I saw in college. So I thought, oh, great, number 4 pick. You guys picked a hybrid tight end wide receiver. Well, you finally used him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he came out on National Tight End Day, so that was a great time for him to break out.
Mm-hmm.
No reason the Dolphins didn't win this game, though. No reason.
Gesicki also scored a touchdown National Tight Ends Day. Freaking Matt Collins has come out of nowhere for the Dolphins to score touchdowns the last 2 weeks. Or I don't think he scored last week, but he had a lot of catches last week. I don't know. Freaking former Eagle.
I'm not going with this guy as the best defensive player because there's a lot of stats and you guys will pick different. I'm going with him because he's still in a Miami uniform. And there was a bunch of talk that he would be elsewhere. And I think other teams could love him. I have a few in my mind. I won't say it, but Xavier Howard did have 2 tackles, 2 solos, and Chris and I both love pass deflections. In a pass-happy NFL, he did break it up, and one of them could have led to the win.
I do like that, but I got to go with the winning team here with the linebacker Deion Jones. He had 16 tackles, 11 solo,
Crazy.
3 tackles for loss. So he was all over the field on Sunday, and probably a big reason why they won.
I'm going with the rookie, though. We mentioned when we had the draft, Bobby McCain got released from the Dolphins, and Javon Holland got drafted to replace Bobby McCain at safety. And he had a good day. 5 tackles, all of them solo, 1 sack, tackle loss, pass selection, and a QB hit. Oregon.
Screw you, Chris.
I love you too.
Falcons. See, Mark, we were lucky that we got our show on Friday at the line that we got it, because by game time, the Falcons actually covered. It got down to -1.5 for the Falcons at game time. But we got it on Friday at 2.5. So that's what we're sticking with when we look at the standings for the Dogs on Friday. Mark and I still got the cover.
Chris
That's
is
fine.
still kicking our arse.
Pretty much. Yeah.
How did I
still
go?
in the game, so that's all right.
I went
48.
6-0, and I've lost every week since then. Anyway,
At least you're not below 500 like me. Over 48. Oh, Chris. All right, we're good.
we're not talking about this long. We are not talking
Good
about this.
Lord. The Patriots spanked the Jets 54-13, Chris.
It's the whole thing that Belichick has over rookie quarterbacks.
Was it
No,
14
but
now?
that wasn't even the problem, though. The problem was that once Zach Wilson went down, Mike White was atrocious.
Hey, well, he
Look.
threw a touchdown. Zach Wilson didn't.
Look,
You can't.
here's a stat that if you did not know, I got it from Rex Ryan, so I cannot take it as my own. This is the worst loss in 41 years in the NFL coming off a bye week.
Oh, yeah.
That is a direct correlation of and that makes me look stupid because I saw the preseason and I said the only way that the Jets can go is up. I really thought that. I didn't think like Robert Saleh is going to be the next Belichick or anything. I just said there's no reason why they can't go up with a new coaching staff, a new rookie quarterback. I forgot about the offensive line. I forgot about let's all do the deficiencies. The running game, the second, everything looked terrible, Chris. And it makes me look like an idiot that I thought Robert Saleh or even Zach Wilson could have any freaking rookie of the year and coach of the year. But I thought, oh, hey, you were terrible last year. You can't be that terrible this year. They might be worse.
Well, no, I'm not one to normally preach this, but the injuries for the Jets are probably more than any other team in football right now. At every single position, they have had a major injury.
We'll talk about it.
So,
God,
I mean,
I just look like it might.
Their best defensive player was out on Sunday, which made a huge difference. CJ Mosley did not play in that game on Sunday, and you noticed that he was gone.
I was pissed in fantasy because I had a decision to make. I had 3 healthy running backs in one of my dynasty leagues. Chris Carson, Christian McCaffrey, both on IR right now. But I had 3 healthy running backs. Michael Carter, Darrell Williams, and Devontae Booker. And I started Booker and Darrell Williams and didn't start Carter. And, of course, he has 8 receptions for 67 yards.
Sometimes you just have to admit in the face of the mirror, I was totally wrong, guys. This is a dumpster fire, and I don't know how you fix it. You're not going to beat the Buffalo Bills. Are you going to have a chance against the Dolphins? I don't know.
Nope.
I think the Lions, if the Lions were to play the Jets twice a year, the Lions would beat the Jets.
I don't know about that.
Jared Goff. Damian Harris, another 100-yard game for him, 2 touchdowns. Hunter Henry scored on National Tight End Day as well.
Finally.
We should have started counting how many times we said that this show. We need to get the soundbite that Sunday Night Football had of George Kittle. It's National Tight End Day.
I loved it.
Delshon Phillips, though, for the Jets. I don't even know who that is, Chris. So 7 tackles, 4 solos, sack, 2 tackles, lost, and QB hit.
Well, he's normally a backup linebacker, but like I said, with all the injuries, he had to start. So,
well, yeah, we'll talk about one of the linebackers that is out for the year again. Another one. So, Mac Jones, though, pretty good. He's shaping up to be the
No, he's not.
best rookie quarterback right now.
He's not rookie of the year. You already know who it
No,
is.
not rookie of the year, but best rookie quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
most consistent, at least.
They don't ask him to do too much is the question.
Patriots cover -7 over 43. Patriots got it themselves. Bengals
Signature
game. Killing the Ravens 41-17. I loved every minute of it.
My name is Joe Burrow, and we all talk about Herbert and all these quarterbacks. My name is Joe Burrow, and we need to talk about me.
Joseph Babyface Burrow getting it done in Baltimore. And he and his friend Jamar Chase lit up the Baltimore secondary. It was funny because they talked about coming into the game, Marlon Humphrey was going to be on him most of the day. Well, I'm sure Marlon Humphrey had a fine day in Baltimore, had a nice little stroll watching Jamar Chase just break 3 tackles and run for a 76-yard touchdown.
Where do we start so we don't talk about this 4 hours? Let me tell you guys something. I'm not comparing Joe Burrows to anybody else, and I've seen it. Oh, he looks like this quarterback. He's his.
First off, you need to cut the S off every time you say Burrow, Mark.
Burrows, because no one is building anything. I call him Burrows because he's got a burrow in every stadium that he walks into, because the dude walks in with the most it's like watching Varsity Blues for all you young people. He has the most moxie, and my thing is he doesn't like protrude it. He doesn't have to have the biggest outfit. He doesn't have to have the biggest talk. He lets his game do all the talking, and he won a national championship at LSU. In my opinion, outside of the Cardinals and 49ers and Rams, he plays in the toughest division with the toughest defensive teams, at least the front line, and he's killing y'all. And it's because he's got confidence, he's got poise, he's coming back from injury. For me, him and Dak Prescott are neck and neck for comeback player of the year.
To that point about the division, I loved the tweet that Aditi Hinklebala said, the NFL Network's beat reporter for the AFC North. 4 of the top 8 teams in the AFC are the AFC division.
And you know what? I think I got it wrong, because I had a bunch of teams in that division. You guys were laughing at me. Maybe the Bengals, not maybe, they get in before the Steelers, but you're going to have, or the Browns, they're going to have a lot of teams from both divisions out west and out east in the same playoff.
CJ Uzama, 2 touchdowns on National Tight End Day. Great game for him. Caught all 3 of his targets for 91 yards. 55 was on 1 of his touchdowns. Marquise Brown continues to have a great season. I'm loving it on fantasy right now. I traded for him last year in Dynasty League, and loving the results right now. Defensively, who are we going to get? I mean, Sam Hubbard was a monster. 5 tackles, 3 souls, 2.5 sacks, 2 touchdowns.
That was mine.
3 quarterback hits. There's your boy Houston there, 4 quarterback hits as well.
One guy I just wanted to mention too is Calais Campbell. He didn't have the greatest stat line, but just his presence on that Ravens defensive line just causes issues. And it's amazing to see what he does at his age right now.
Weird there was no running game for Baltimore in this game, except for Lamar Jackson.
No running game, but I think Joe Mixon still is exceeding what I thought at the beginning of the season. He's an afterthought. He only had 59 yards, but it's still 4.9. They didn't have to go to him because you have Jamar Chase. Does that add up? Like, let's say someone holds Jamar Chase to 115 yards. I think the rest of the yards would go to Joe Mixon.
Bengals +6 over 46. Raiders beat the Eagles 33-22 in Vegas. Derek Carr.
Score is not indicative of that.
This was his second career 90+% completion game. No one else in NFL history, I believe they said, has won. Has more than one.
I don't. Go ahead.
Or I don't know. There's some stat like that was crazy, and like
It's probably got to be with like at least 30 pass attempts or something like that.
Yes, that's what it was.
Over 30. It's over 30.
Over 30 pass attempts. No one else has more than one 90% completion game.
He's not a bad quarterback, guys. That's been the whole discussion. Is he good enough to lead a franchise? Is he not? He's good enough. But I think this is another like I was talking about the Jets on a bye week having a bad game plan. This was a bad game plan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Eagles need to figure it out on defense. I think Nick Sirianni is doing an adequate job on offense. I mean, they're getting enough right now. It hurt that Miles Sanders got injured early on, when this was going to be the game that everyone knew that the game plan was, we're going to give Miles Sanders 20 touches this game, and he got hurt. So that kind of derailed the offensive game plan, I thought, a little bit. I still like what I'm seeing from Jalen Hurts. And to that point, I want to remind people what they said during the broadcast, that Eagles fans can't panic, and anyone else for that matter. You have to remember, this is only Jalen Hurts' 11th start. This was only his 11th career start. I mean, he hasn't even started a full season yet, and people are putting him down like he's the second round bust, even though I don't really know if we call bust in the second round, but.
And I would piggyback off on that and say I have no problem with Jalen Hurts. I said that leading up, kind of a preview to this. I would say that Jalen Hurts will be better with your last coach. What I would say is, from top down, I think you guys flipped it. You need to flip Carson Wentz for maybe a good draft pick, but why? He lost the locker room. All right. But who did you guys hire after that? Raise your hand outside of us three and people on any national broadcast, and you don't have to go get a big name, but can anyone name who your coach is? Where did they get him from? And why did they come to that decision? That doesn't mean it's going to look bad in year 2 or 3. But what if you would have said Jalen Hurts is our quarterback for the next 3 to 5 years? We're going to trade away Carson Wentz, get some draft picks to make Jalen Hurts better, and we've already seen your quarterback win a Super Bowl. So it's the same thing outside of football that the St. Louis Cardinals are going through. We go through a 17-game win streak to get to the playoffs. We fire our manager, and who the hell are we going to hire?
The reason they got Nick Sirianni was because he was the offensive coordinator for Frank Reich, and they thought that the Eagles were playing well under Frank Reich's offensive scheme, which they were.
But he's not.
You can see that now. What Carson Wentz is doing back under that scheme, and they thought that's what they were getting, was the same similar scheme, and I think it sort of is. I think they need to run more of what he runs, though. Go into the RPOs, get more of that, because I think that's what Jalen Hurts does best.
And I agree with you, but I actually think you guys are going to be better when you have one more coaching change. Just like, and I hate to say, you guys are nothing like the Browns, but I think it would be a better coaching decision to move on from someone like Freddie Kitchens to what the Browns have now. I don't think this is your coach of the future. Whether Jalen Hurts is your quarterback of the future or not, I don't think that was a good hire. Time will tell. Time will tell, and you can make me eat my words. And I know that you don't have to agree with me. We don't have to agree on everything. I think it was not a good coaching hire.
Raiders covered -1 over 48. And Dallas Goedert, 70 yards. Foster Moreau filling in for the injured Darren Waller, scores on National Tight End Day.
Yeah, I'm mad about that because I had Darren Waller. I had Darren Waller in our fantasy league, and I didn't know he was out until it was too late.
Oh.
So he was stuck on my roster.
Unique Ngakoue, though, he just destroyed the Eagles' offensive line all day. 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackle swaps, 2 pass selections, and 3 quarterback hits. Rams. Oh, Mark. I mean, the return of Mr. Goff to LA he almost got revenge, man. He he had him early. Was it 1917 or not? Something like that at one point.
It was making me sweat was the only thing I could think of. If I picked this game, you traded for a quarterback. Am I taking my shirt? When we lost to the Patriots, I ripped the shirt, and I'm not the strongest guy in the world, off of me because I thought the game plan was crappy, and if we had one quarterback, we would have beat the Patriots. But we found a way to win, and I've always talked about that. That's the same thing with the Packers. It's the same thing that I think is going to construct you for the long run in the playoffs. And Matthew Stafford said that at the end of the game. I wanted to get that that's not a good analogy with today's society. I wanted to get the chip off my shoulder that I beat my old team that gave me a chance. And I thought that was one, A, respectful, and two, he did enough. I did enough. A few throws, if you didn't watch this game, looked like Patrick Mahomes. He sidearmed that darn thing to get first downs and to win the ball game.
Yeah, I loved the game for Matthew Stafford. Cooper Kupp single-handedly helped me win a
100%
game because it was a league that I got nothing out of Sony Michel because someone was on a bye, I think. Oh no, yeah, I forget. Someone was on a bye that I had, and I didn't have any other options on the waiver wire, so I went with Sony Michel, thinking that the Rams are going to be up. Michel's going to get some carries. He had all of one carry for 4 yards, I believe.
Personnel things that I loved. I think Van Jefferson is still a great draft pick for the Rams. 4 for 43 with a touchdown. He had 7 targets. It's not big numbers, but he fills a void for us. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that you picked up Sony Michel because I had high hopes that he would be able to be really a catching back for us. And for some reason, I don't know if it's a play calling. I think it's kind of a play calling that is different than when we had Todd Gurley, but I still see him as a really big catching back. And they haven't used him. And I don't know if it's injuries are slowing him down in his professional career or what.
Yeah. I was disappointed because Khalif Raymond had a 100-yard performance and Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't get any targets, which in a daily fantasy lineup, I went into Sunday Night Football winning $100, currently winning $50. So I'm praying that no one that has Alex Collins or Rashad Penny, I believe the majority of people that are still left that are up near where I'm at on the standings have Alex Collins, but there's only like a couple people that are still have players to play. But yeah, St. Brown with a big 0 on my lineup really killed me. I could have maybe won the first place prize of like $300. But yeah, really hurt for that aspect, but I'm going to win something at least, which is a good thing. Yeah, defensively, I mean, you got your pick of Jalen Ramsey. I'm going to go Jalen Ramsey, though. 6 tackles, 4 solos, tackle for loss, pass deflection, quarterback hit, and the game-sealing interception.
Can't argue.
Lions tricky in this one, though. Onside kick recovery. They got 2 fake punt conversions. It was just ridiculous. They pulled it all out.
You would have thought Johnny Hecker was back there.
Lions did cover plus 16.5, under 51 though. Cardinals still undefeated. 72 Dolphins are still sweating. 31-5 over the Texans. Kyler Murray efficient. Did turn it over once. Didn't matter. He gave the Texans 2 points, which was nice of him. Very generous from Kyler Murray. That came off of the Jacob Martin tackle in the end zone for a safety. But yeah, Davis Mills looking like a rookie once again.
This game was out of hand early and often, and I love to see was Zach Ertz getting traded, getting into the mix. That's blending someone new and just added. And that goes back to what I thought J.J. Watt brought to this team. I was high on them. I wasn't even this high on them if you go back to our beginning season picks. And what do we want to talk about? It's the 31-5 beatdown. That's a beatdown in the NFL.
Well, the story that I feel like was overshadowed in this game was the return, or not return because it was in Arizona, but DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt playing their former team for the first time. And even though the main quote-unquote villain in the story isn't in the picture anymore, DeAndre Hopkins still got his revenge.
The dude is I don't know where you want to rank him at, but right now in the NFL, just cream of the crop wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. I think he's definitely top 3.
Yeah, it was funny because you had the trade of DeAndre Hopkins all involved in this game. You had David Johnson for the Texans. You had the picks, which were ended up being defensive tackle Ross Blacklock, and the other one that they mentioned on the game was
Left tackle. Offensive line.
I can't remember who the other pick was that they mentioned that the Texans drafted with one of the picks that the Cardinals gave them. But yeah, and then obviously, like you said, DeAndre Hopkins, as well as free agent signing J.J. Watt. I think Nico Collins.
No, yeah, Nico Collins was their draft pick. You're right.
Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. Definitely, once again, we can say that the Cardinals for sure fleeced the Texans out of DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, yeah.
I won't say what we call it in fantasy for, I guess, legal purposes and for just not wanting to say the word on actual live stream. But
and I do think the Texans are going to fill this for a few years, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they've traded all their other picks, so it's
I mean, they play in a crappy division besides the Titans and maybe Colts, but they're going to fill it.
Yeah. So defensively, like you said, Zach Ertz first game scores on National Tight End Day. You know he's going to. It's National Tight End Day. I mean, come on.
And the Cardinals like to use their tight ends, so without
now Williams, they do. Now they do. They didn't before this year.
Well, yeah.
But Max Williams now injured. Zach Ertz. But yeah, defensively, let's go with Jonathan Greenard. He has become a stud for the Texans. Really, one of the promising. The few promising things that the Texans have had this year is drafting Greenard 2 years ago in 2019. Or actually, it might have been last year. I'm not exactly sure, but 4 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, 1 pass flex, and 2 QB hits. And I sincerely apologize to Jonathan Greenard because coming out of Florida, remember, Chris, I said he has that feel of the guy that the Jets drafted. Jabari Zuniga.
Oh, yeah. Zuniga, yeah.
Same out of Florida as well. Cardinals did cover minus 20 at game time. Under 48. I mean, how do you cover 20 in an NFL game? That's ridiculous. Bucks getting it done at home, 38-3. I told y'all, I tried to tell you guys on Friday, this is going to be exactly like the Dolphins game that they just annihilated the Dolphins. And I told you it was going to happen again against the Bears, and it did. Tom Brady, once again, stellar, not great completion. 211 yards, nice day for him. 4 touchdowns, 3 of them to Mike Evans. You know what, though, Chris? I talked about Cooper Kupp in one of my leagues, but I got annihilated in another league, in a dynasty league. I was playing against a guy that had Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, and there was another receiver that had like a freaking 25-point day that I can't remember. But it was just like I got railed by 3 receivers, all scoring above 25 points. It is ridiculous. Khalil Herbert's been a nice find for the Bears. And I told y'all once again that Herbert coming out of Virginia Tech, 6th-round pick this year, was a nice ad for them. And he has been so far. Justin Fields, I was excited that I started the Buccaneers defense in our Dynasty League. I believe they got me 19 points.
I bet.
Is Tom Brady, here's the questions. Is Tom Brady going to pass Peyton Manning single season touchdown record?
Oh.
He's on pace, and each Sunday is a different wide receiver because he has that many weapons. Other question is, do you really account all of the turnovers to Justin Fields? I would say no, even though he's responsible. I've always said that you should have a different stat if you hit a wide receiver's fingers wide open, not behind them, wide open, and it bounces off their fingers and it's an interception. We have so many stats today that shouldn't go back to Justin Fields. And then the second part of that is Matt Nagy, to me, is the worst, I'm not going to cuss, stinking coach in the NFL right now. He has not tailored his offense around Justin Fields. He had 0 designed run plays on Sunday. And how do you not have a quarterback bootleg or waggle or get out of the pocket and do something or get us a first down? This is a direct reflection of your coach. I hate to say that. The Bears defense is a still good defense. And I don't know what to do with Justin Fields. He's not a terrible quarterback right now, but he hasn't had the right coaching. He hasn't. I'm going to say that. I'm going to save him this game. Even though he's had, 5 turnovers this game, I would give him 2. 3 were not his fault. If you hit your wide receivers twice and you have a 5th round or a 5th slotted tackle and you design a play where he doesn't see someone coming off the edge and that edge rusher is the top 5 in the NFL, you're going to have a strip sack. That's common sense and why the Bucks won a Super Bowl. So I would account 2 turnovers to Justin Fields, and the rest is poor coaching. Argue if you don't agree with me.
I agree.
Matt Nagy should be fired this week, and let's move on to an interim coach and look for somebody different. You've already ruined 2 quarterbacks in the top 10.
I agree that he's a bad coach, but I don't think he would be fired yet because they are only 3-4, so they're technically still in the hunt. So, not saying he shouldn't be fired, but he won't be until they're mathematically eliminated. I don't think he'll be fired. But just 2 quick side notes about this game that I found kind of funny, and the other one is just Brady being Brady. But the first thing that I heard pregame was that this is the first time in Brady's career that he ever faced off against an Ohio State quarterback, which I thought was weird. I thought he would have run into one in the 20 years that he's been in the league. Right, but no, apparently Justin Fields was the first one he ever went up against. And I guess he's got an undefeated record against Ohio State quarterbacks now. But the other thing, too, is, like I said, Brady being Brady, he becomes the first player ever to throw for 600 touchdowns in a career. And then Mike Evans, not realizing it, gives the ball away. So the fan that he gave the ball to was probably the luckiest guy there because then he was able to negotiate to give the ball back.
Well,
and he got pretty stuck.
I'm glad you brought that up, Chris, because they actually announced what he got in his negotiation. So he got 2 signed jerseys and a helmet from Brady. He got a signed Mike Evans jersey and his game cleats. He got $1,000 credit to the Bucks team store.
Heck yeah, baby.
And he got 2 season tickets for the rest of this year and next season.
Love it. Love it.
Holy hell.
That's
Love
a lot,
it.
but I still don't think it equates to the value of the 600th touchdown ball.
I think it is way overvalued of giving a ball back.
But
I heard that the ball was like worth $500,000.
and it could be worth millions later, but what I love is the moment. That's the thing that brings sports together, right? It brings every walk of life. You could be from a different country. You could be going through a health issue, a socioeconomic issue. That's what breaks barriers. And I love that in the press conference, Brady said, I'm loving Florida Tom Brady. He's more open. He's more, willing to ask or answer questions. Oh, it was nonchalant. Oh, he'll get he'll get compensated well. And that's a good compensation. That's a good compensation.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weird though. I would have been like, no, you're not getting the ball back until I get everything in writing.
I would have gave it to him right there.
Again, Leonard Fournette found the end zone. I've been very happy about him. Chris, my trade that I made 2 weeks ago before the Eagles Thursday night game against the Bucks for Leonard Fournette in Dynasty League. I mean, what value did I get? 2nd round pick in next year's draft for Leonard Fournette this year. I mean, that's great. I'm loving life.
Did someone just say, I'm not doing good this year, I'll just give it away?
I didn't send the trade. He sent me the offer, and I was like, hell yeah.
Who'd you give him? Just a 2nd round pick, huh?
Yeah, that's all it was. Great times. Godwin over 100 yards. Mike Evans, like I said, 3 touchdowns. Fantastic in our keeper league, Chris. Loving life. 3 touchdowns for him. Defensively, Jason Pierre-Paul, 4 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, tackle loss, and 2 QB hits. Bucks cover -12, under 47, which I was excited about. I had the under, and I was like, oh, good Lord. The Bucks scored freaking 35 in the first half. I was like, there's no way this thing goes under when it was 35-3 at halftime. There's 3 points the rest of the game. I was like, let's go. And I was very scared because the Bears were driving late. And I was like, oh no, they're gonna hit the over because they're gonna score a touchdown at the end. I was like, thank you. One of the very, very few wins that I had this weekend. So thank you for not scoring, Chicago. All right, Sunday night football last night in a just terrible weather. I mean, it was pouring all game. Quarterbacks couldn't hold the ball. Receivers couldn't hold the ball. Running backs couldn't hold the ball. Fumbles all over the field. But Chris's dog and all of us picked the Colts 30-18 in Santa Clara. It was weird because Carson Wentz didn't throw for more yards than Jimmy G did, but Carson looked like the clear better quarterback in the game. 3 total touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, Elijah Mitchell, I think that was the biggest story of the game, though. 2 young running backs. One's a rookie. One's in his 2nd year. Jonathan Taylor, the 2nd-year guy here. Both 107 yards, both 18 carries, both scored touchdowns. And I was so pissed with this game, though, because of our guy, Chris. Our guy, Michael Pittman. You know why? You know why I was pissed off? I hit everything. Every single thing in my same game parlay. Everything. Michael Pittman had, I believe, 2 pass interferences called against the defense, the defender that was covering him. Twice. He got a DPI call. And I had everything covered, like I said. I had Michael Pittman to catch 5 receptions. I was like, are you shitting me right now?
There is some funny storylines from this game. One being
wrong. I don't know why I put My bad.
One being Coach Shanahan saying, "I guess he's a starter." That's not a vote of confidence. That just means you don't know what to do from here, and we'll look at the game film or the next team. Which if I'm Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm getting paid a lot of money. Like, what does that mean? Like, all right, I'm going to come to practice every day and battle for my position, but my coach obviously doesn't believe in me. You go down the board, Indianapolis won this game, but whose name's not on here that they gave $18 million to as a running back and have been in trade discussions with?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that doesn't act. I just what is going on with the personnel decisions? And then Josh Norman looking like a young cornerback, 10 tackles, 7 solo, 3 tackles for a loss, pass deflection. Oh, a lot of things come out of this game. It was rainy, nasty. Did Carson Wentz really look good? In my opinion, this is the game that San Francisco would have won. The way Shanahan likes to control the game with the running attack, but he's got injuries at the running back, and it makes him really one-dimensional, in my opinion.
Is that not how you spell it?
Micael.
Michael's always been an issue for me. I don't know why. The name has always been hard to spell from my point of view. But anyways, yeah, I think Carson's doing a great job right now in Indianapolis. And besides a Baltimore comeback, I mean, they could possibly have a winning record at 4-3. But
You're right. You're right.
Oh, Allie Cox, another tight end, scored National Tight End Day. So that was great. I had Jonathan Taylor first touchdown in this game. That didn't happen. Niners marching right down the field easily on the first drive. Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon getting it done. But yeah, Debo, 100-yard receiving performance. Michael Pittman, 100 yards. Again, why couldn't you have just caught 5 balls instead of 4? Could have saved my weekend, really. But Josh Norman with a peanut punch. I mean, he's becoming something in his elder years in the league. But yeah, I'm going I don't know. Chris's guy, Emmanuel Mosley. 3 tackles, 2 solos, 4 pass deflections.
4.
Colts plus 3.5 over 42. All right, NCAA news. We have one thing. Another position opened today.
Yep.
Texas Tech has fired head coach Matt Wells after their loss to Kansas State this weekend. So just another spot that is open to go along with Washington State, USC, LSU. I believe those are the only ones I can think of that I know.
Mm-hmm.
For now. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, before Clemson fires Dabo, you know.
Whatever.
All right, NFL news. We got some trades, y'all. We have 3 to talk about. 3. But we're going to get to the one Chris wants to talk about first. We're going to do that one first because it just happened about 30 minutes ago.
Yep, during the show.
The Jets have acquired Joe Flacco once again.
Yes, sir.
The Eagles have traded quarterback Joe Flacco to the New York Jets for a 2022 conditional 6th-round pick that can become a 5th based off play time.
They're going to win 3 games now.
I mean, I haven't obviously looked into the trade, so I don't know what the conditions are for that draft pick.
Just play time, I believe.
But yet, I believe Joe Flacco should be the starter in the next 2-3 weeks, however long it takes for Zach Wilson to come back. I think it's an odd choice, though, or an odd trade, because normally I'd say, oh, it's because of his familiarity with the system. But no, it's not. He doesn't have any familiarity with the system because it's a different system than it was last year. So I don't really see the thinking here. I mean, they did really need a veteran backup quarterback. I don't know if Joe Flacco is really the way to go here.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is now. And I believe the conditions are probably favorable to the Eagles, I would think, based off the timeline of Zach Wilson, which we'll get into. But I mean, I don't care. Obviously, I'd rather have the 5th, but yeah. Other two trades that we had. The Vikings sending defensive end Stephen Weatherly and a 2023 7th-round selection to the Denver Broncos for a 2022 7th-round selection. So just 1 year up for the Broncos there, or for the Vikings there. Broncos trying to fortify their defense with that trade, as well as Mark's Rams sending linebacker Kenny Young and a 2024 7th-round selection to the Broncos as well for a 2024 6th-round selection. So same draft, just moving up around there.
I think those are two pretty good trades for the Broncos. Not giving up much draft capital and getting two solid defensive pieces there.
Yeah, and Kenny Young is a guy that the Rams got from the Ravens in the
Marcus Peters trade.
Yeah. So, all right, we're not gonna try to go too long on this, but we have to talk to Sean Watson. The trade deadline is November 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
So a week from
Tomorrow.
Yes. November 2nd at 4 p.m. So we know the two biggest teams involved, Dolphins and the Panthers. There are reportedly others, which we can speculate, Eagles, Broncos. I think those are really the only 4 that I could think of that would be in it right now. Saints, I guess.
I don't know if they can afford him, though.
Right. But, I mean, they always seem to find some way to afford everyone.
I don't know. I don't see how. Well, I don't know what the Texans are going to get back for him, but I'm just thinking from my perspective. If I was a GM, I wouldn't want to trade for him because of the looming legal issues going on with him. Because there's no guarantee he's going to play. So unless I'm giving back like late round picks, I don't think I would go for it.
He will play right away. He's eligible to play right away for whatever team would acquire him. There is no expectation that he's going to be placed on the commissioner's exempt list if he's traded, because his legal situation is still pending. And there is nothing right now that would allow or provide enough cause to put him on the commissioner's exempt list, because for the commissioner to do that, you have to be charged with a felony or a violent crime, which neither of those is the case in Deshaun's situation.
It would be a total talent upgrade. The word I use is optics. What does that look for your team and your fan base, and specifically for any female that follows the NFL or our show? I will say this: if you look up the definition of a feminist, it is misconstrued. It's anyone that wants equal pay and equal rights for women. That would be all 3 of us on this show. I think that would also be the owner of the Panthers and anyone in their organization. And you would have to let the legal system play out. So could he play this year? Could it change in the summer? I think it would be an interesting point to say this. Everything is on the civil side. What does the civil cases look like when he's eventually traded from the Houstons? Is Texans, everything dropped? I don't know.
Yeah, I putting bias into it, which I don't care. I'm hoping for the Panthers to get him. I think sitting at 3-4, now at the bottom of their division since the Falcons won and got to 500. I think they can still have a chance if Deshaun's the quarterback. They'll get McCaffrey back in a week or two. Stephon Gilmore's reportedly supposed to make his first career start with the Panthers next week. Shaq Thompson should be back next week.
If you can build around that nucleus, I think they would be really good going in the future. If they could resign him when his contract's up and you have that defense, we've seen what Cam Newton has done in that community. He could take over for the same.
Well, that's the thing. Deshaun signed for the next 4 seasons, I believe, too.
Well, and that's why if he's able to play, and again, it's the optics of everything that you do. That's a quarterback that you can build around for years. It's not something that you're going to rent, someone you're going to rent. It's not something. He's a human being that has feelings and has a voice in what is all said in all of these cases. He could be signed for years. And the Panthers, I think, could set themselves up when Brady might play another 2 or 3 years.
But yeah, that's also the issue is with former owners, why the former owner, Jerry Richardson, sold the team.
Exactly.
The same sort of allegations that Deshaun Watson is facing. That's one of the reasons why people are saying the Panthers did not trade for him.
I have a personal opinion, not that anyone cares, but unless it bleeds over to the legal system, like you have to have a legal case and there's felony charges or some other. And here's the thing about the Panthers that we can bring up. Think about a linebacker that had the same issues, then went to Dallas and whatnot. That might not be good optics for Charlotte. But if I am the owner, I'm a billionaire owner, and I say I'm going to hire my legal team before I make this trade, if nothing is in the legal course, and I know no one wants to hear this, that's just that's what we're built on. You are innocent until you're guilty. Let's stop saying people are guilty until proven innocent. It's a civil court issue, and I could take Rusty to civil court and say, I have buck teeth, but I didn't like what you said. I'm going to take you to civil court. You have to defame me in the legal system. I can take anybody to civil court and try to get a monetary value out of them. And that has nothing to do with women, men, or any community in our legal system. That's the difference. In the civil court, if no one knows, you only have to have one speck of evidence. In the legal system, you have to be guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's why David Tepper is, but him and Matt Rule together have changed the culture wholeheartedly in Carolina. But anyways, Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson, he's going to have a pin removed from his finger this week and is going to be on track to immediately return from IR within the next 2 weeks, I would say, probably.
All right with that.
The Jags, they officially declared wide receiver DJ Chark out for the year after fracturing his ankle a few weeks ago.
Ouch.
Yeah, I had been holding him on my IR in my fraternity league, and I finally decided to let go. I was kind of like Rose in Titanic. I was letting DJ fall to the bottom of the ocean.
That's pretty funny.
The Cardinals getting good news for Thursday night. They activated linebacker Chandler Jones and defensive lineman Zach Allen off of the first shift. So some defensive reinforcements there. Not so good for the team that they are hosting, the Packers. Defensive coordinator Joe Barry will be out Thursday night. He tested positive, and as a result, the Packers are now in the most strict COVID protocols that the NFL has. No in-person meetings. Everyone has to wear masks at the facility right now, regardless of vaccination status. They are going through contract chasing with Joe Barry, and one of those contact traces has led to Packers wide receiver Devontae Adams being placed on the COVID list, so he will be out for Thursday night as well.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that can be worse is if Aaron Rodgers is placed on the COVID list.
Well, I still don't think it matters. I think that Devontae Adams being out is enough to push the needle towards the Cardinals if it wasn't already.
Right, but I'm saying it would be just annihilation if Jordan Love were to be starting in Arizona on Thursday night.
Look, Aaron Rodgers walking into that center and saying, I don't care about my mask. I'm starting Thursday.
The Bears also, they have someone on the COVID list. It is head coach Matt Nagy. He tested positive as well. So could possibly get back by the weekend. Has to get 2 negative tests within 48 hours, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't, and they'll probably win their game, and we can move on because he doesn't need to be the coach anymore.
The Texans quarterback Tyrod Taylor, he is going to practice this week, trying to return off of IR. He's in his 21-day practice window. And head coach David Culley has said that he will be the starter when healthy. So
As he should.
I agree with Chris, as should.
The Saints wide receiver Chris Hogan has retired. Tried to give it a go again. I guess he's going to go back to PLL, the Premier League lacrosse. I don't know, but
I don't know, but he is a good athlete. He did
score a touchdown, right, in his return.
I believe so.
That one.
He did, but to go from one league to the next he's a good athlete, guys.
The Niners, they released linebacker Michael Kendricks. Talked about them re-signing him. Now he's gone again. And here we go, Chris. Jets. So quarterback Zach Wilson, minor PCL strain, out 2 to 4 weeks. Really weird. Usually you don't hear about PCLs, but
yeah. I don't know if either one of you guys saw the play where it happened, but
no.
Yeah, his leg was bent pretty bad, and I'm surprised it's only a mild PCL sprain.
Well, he had 2. Not to prolong this talk, he had 2 hits that I was like,
well, yeah.
Is he going to survive that one? And then he got hit again. I was like, no way.
But
and that was his not coming into the league. He is a smaller prototype in the NFL.
But the one thing I do have to say about this injury though is it's almost a little bit of a silver lining in my opinion, because now Wilson has a few weeks to sit back, watch the team play, and learn from the bench, which a lot of people said preseason he should have been on the bench to begin with. Whether or not that's true is a different story, but I do like that now he's going to have a few games to sit there and watch possibly Joe Flacco run the offense now. And, hopefully he comes out better than he was when he got the injury.
The guy that lost to Brett Rippon on a Thursday night, Chris. There you go. Joe Flacco. That's Joe Flacco for you. Also, with the Jets linebacker, Jamian Sherwood is out for the year. He tore his Achilles yesterday.
Yeah, one of the young bright spots of this Jets defense going down with injury.
Ravens right tackle Patrick McCarry. He has a high ankle sprain. Luckily for them, they are on a bye this week, so he'll have an extra week to get back. And I believe he should be back, they said, by their week 9 game. Dolphins, they play safety Jason McCourty and running back Malcolm Brown on IR. McCourty possibly out for the year. He's going to have foot surgery after he gets some other tests and opinions. Eagles running back Miles Sanders, he has a sprained ankle. He is week to week right now. So have to see what goes along with that. Seahawks running back Alex Collins, he is expected to play tonight despite his hip injury. Along with the Seahawks running back Rashad Penny, he was activated off IR. He will get a decent workload tonight as well. And with the Saints, quarterback Taysom Hill is out with a concussion, and wide receiver Deontay Harris out tonight with a hamstring injury. They are getting 3 reinforcements, though, back off of IR tonight. Defensive end Marcus Davenport, linebacker Quan Alexander, and wide receiver Traquan Smith all expected to play tonight in their returns from IR. I have Saints -5, Chris. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think it can happen.
All right. That is all the news we have. Pick 'em. I lost again. The Broncos, they should have friggin' won. I don't understand how, but I was going to be lone wolfing once again this week until the COVID news came down and, you guys flipped on me. But it's fine. So before we get into tonight's game, we do have 2 college football games going on Thursday night. Troy 4-3 Troy at number 24 Coastal Carolina, who is 6-1. The Chants are an 18.5-point favorite at home. 53 is the over/under, and that's 7:30 on ESPN2. The other game, 2-5 USF at ECU, who is 3-4. The Pirates of East Carolina, 9.5-point favorites at home. Over/under is 57. And 7:30 on ESPN Thursday night. Now, tonight's games kicking off right now. Saints, 5-point favorites, I believe it is now. That's what I got it at. In Seattle at Lumen Field. We're all in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks have the ball first right now.
I mean, the Seahawks did look good last week against the Steelers, but I think that the Saints team is a little bit better than the Steelers, so we'll see.
Well, Chris, just let me get a Seahawks touchdown the first drive to Tyler Lockett, and then the Saints can dominate the rest of the game. I just need a Tyler Lockett first touchdown, and then I'll be okay.
I mean,
that's what I don't think Alex Collins can.
If I say it, they'll lose. But the key players in this game, skill position, whether you believe in Jameson or not, as a fan, Alvin Kamara is in the lineup. Running back for Seattle out. Quarterback for Seattle out. And so I think that's why we all picked the Saints, even on the road.
Marcus Lattimore and DK Metcalf getting feisty early. Good Lord.
and as they should. That's going to be a key matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Over-under is 42. That's a first down. Oh, come on. Give him the spot. Over-under is 42. And I don't know. I kind of want to say over because both teams I don't think are that great, but I think they're so not great that they could score enough points to get over 42. 6 touchdowns.
I told you I could care less about these teams. No offense to Chris. And it's nothing against the Saints. I could care less about the Seahawks because they're in our division.
Bro, Pete, go for it. No balls. They're at the 39-yard line. I'd go for it. It's early on. Why not? Going on right now on ESPN. See, and then you kick a touchback. Like, what does that do for you? Nothing. It gives them the ball on the 20-yard line.
At a certain record, I think you should go for it way more than you plan. That's just me.
Well, Lane Kiffin does. All right, Thursday Night Football, Packers at the Cardinals. I have to check what the line is now after the Devontae Adams. Holy crap! It's up to 6.
Jesus.
Packer, listen. Write it down. Packers win this game for 2 reasons. Because we switched to the Cardinals, and Chris and I were on the Packers, and then we heard about COVID. And so I think that's the biggest reason. Cardinals are a 10 times better team. Their defense, offense, they really are the cream of the crop right now, besides maybe the Buccaneers and 1 or 2 other teams. But now that I think of it, with Devontae Adams, I think it allows receivers to step up outside of him. And if you really do watch the Packers, they have one of the best wide receiver quarterback relationships. And I've seen Rodgers over the last 3 years kind of hone into him on plays. And I think he's going to – it either shows how good he is because he's going to see the whole field even more instead of looking for Devontae Adams. And I'm just saying this because we picked him. I still think the Cardinals are the best team.
Start Randall Cobb in all of your daily lineups. That should have been freaking offside, dude.
Yep.
You're a player two behind me.
Well, I'm on my phone. It's streaming and it sucks.
Same here.
Over under is 53 for this one. I like the over, regardless of the Cardinals' defense.
Mm-hmm.
It still is Aaron Rodgers, and it still is the Cardinals' offense. So, thank you, James.
I like the over.
8:20 on Fox and NFL Network on Thursday night. All right, next Friday, we'll be back here, Week 9 NFL kickoff, recapping Week 8 in college football, Week 9 in college football, Week 8 in NFL. And we will be previewing the Monday night matchup, Giants at the Chiefs. Thursday night matchup, Jets at the Colts. Super Bowl.
No, I'm not even going to watch. Oh, I'm going to sleep.
Look at that. Both New York teams back-to-back primetime games. That's great.
Why? No, I'm kidding.
Giants actually got a shot against the Chiefs, though.
No, the Giants.
Giants might have a
Chiefs are going to be a fun game.
That'll be a decent
game. Shot. That's not what I wanted to do.
The Colts Jets game might be the worst game of the season, though.
No, it's pretty bad.
Joe Flacco versus Carson Wentz. Where can you go wrong?
I'll take the Jets.
I just want to say the Broncos game last year was on a Thursday night, so yeah, I can see a repeat happening again.
God, why did I not start Traquan? I didn't know he was going to get activated today. I didn't know he was getting activated this week off of IR. But all right, we are finally done. Thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Also here on YouTube and Facebook. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you on football.